Hello, I'm Nicholas Jackson.
And I'm Luke Roberts.
And welcome to episode 4 of the Rand Nerds podcast.
Holy hell, 4.
I know. We've been going, it's a third of a year, you realise?
4 months.
4 months.
It's going to take another month to edit the podcast.
True.
Apologies for the last one. I just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, I kept coming and prodding him and just sort of saying, Luke, where is it? We're trying to get it done early. Come on, Luke.
Yeah, look, we recorded it at the start of the month, released it at the end of the month. So right now it's, what, 2nd of November?
It's 2nd November, so you might get this in mid-January?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
So if you start hearing fireworks going off in the background, we're just giving you a bit of a...
Yes. Yeah, we're having for the American listeners, just to let you know, we're having a late 4th of July celebration.
We got rid of them!
Yeah. We celebrate when we abandoned the country to some poor people who had to deal with all the mess we left behind, so it's our little celebration.
Let's chalk up that offence.
Yeah.
So you're starting at this time, god damn it.
Well, we'll already opened the door there, and we just carry on.
Yeah, I think the last one was a bit... That was brilliant.
Yeah.
I was so proud of you.
I don't think anyone in Norfolk has heard it yet, so I'm safe at the moment.
I still haven't figured out how to connect to the internet, so I'm safe for a while.
Hey, so you're doing it now.
Whoops.
My friend did hear, I was listening to the podcast when I was feeding the pigs the other day in the feed store. My friend what we're doing while I was doing it.
You were having a little chuckle, weren't you?
I was having a little chuckle to the pod. I was listening for any audio errors with the story I gave him.
I started posting some of the lines on Facebook to people at the Norfolk Gypsy Curse.
Yeah.
And people were in stitches, like all the way. Even people from Norfolk. I was like, how are you guys on the internet? What the hell?
Yeah.
How do you understand?
There must be some sort of training program as all I can think, sort of...
They must be doing ECDL, that's the European Computer Driver License.
Yeah. How to turn on a computer. And it is like that. It is how to turn on a computer.
Literally like 5 books.
We had to do that as part of our foundation year for university. You go through like GCSE level, then A level equivalent stuff, and then you do your foundation year, and you have to do a book on how to turn a computer on, how to do like basic Word.
We were the trial for the ECDL.
Yeah, but they gave these books. They're meant to take you said you could do them over the course of 4 or 5 weeks. It took me an hour.
Yeah, we did the whole lot.
Yeah, an hour to do it all.
It was kind of horrible. I mean, in fairness, if you're going to trial something, don't trial it on comp sci students. Okay,
no.
Give it to someone that doesn't actually know how to use a computer to gauge its effectiveness.
It's a bit like saying we've got a trial on a new training scheme for chefs. We're going to give it to Raymond Blanc and let him do it. Let's see how he gets on with it.
Well, it came out pretty well. I'd say this was a success. Anyway, moving on.
We've been rambling on now for 3 minutes on
podcast
stuff.
is over. We'll see you next month.
See you next week. Thanks for listening.
Next week,
yeah.
Awfully bold.
This is our new technique, you see. What we're going to do is we're just going to do 5 minutes every week. And it's going to be like, Metal Gear Solid 2, excellent, goodbye. That sort of podcast.
I feel a bit shocked there. You just said Metal Gear Solid 2.
But it's the first bit that Solid Snake was alright.
Yeah, that was alright. I was going to say, as long as you didn't say Metal Gear Solid 3, then I've had to have killed you.
I like Metal Gear Solid 3.
Hideo Kojima was on crack, I'm telling you.
I love Metal Gear Solid 3.
I've played through 1, 2, and 4. 3 can just go and jump off a bridge.
I love that. That was. Do you know? I love Metal Gear Solid 3. The very last bit, spoiler alert, Metal Gear Solid 3, where you have to shoot your big boss. You have to shoot.
Oh, here we go.
I sat there for a good 5 minutes with my finger over the trigger button because you have to actually physically push the button to shoot it. And I said about 5 minutes before I pushed the button.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a new low.
I didn't want to push it.
You didn't want to shoot her?
No. She was English.
Oh dear. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the parts of that game were fine, but some of them characters were a little kind of...
I like the fact that the end, the sniper, you could beat him by starting the boss battle, saving the game and going away for a week, and when you come back he died of old age.
I did that. I didn't actually realise that was a thing until I turned the game back on and he died. I was like, oh, oops. I think it was from that point on I can't be bothered with this game. It was just the lightning general guy. I didn't like him at all. He had a soldier in a barrel and was just punching at I just hated that character. It made no sense. I know Hideo Kojima's on some form of world warping drug, but that was a little bit on the extreme for me.
Yeah.
Other stuff I could let slide, because they had nano machines in the other games and that, but in Metal Gear Solid 3...
It was sort of set. It was almost like it's actually in a way a prequel.
Yeah, it was. It was set in the 60s, so you had I think it was the 60s, you had basically the boss,
You had,
and then Snake was the guy who becomes Big Boss.
Yes.
Snake's father in
Metal
the
Gear
early
Solid.
games. So
Metal Gear. Sorry.
it was. God, kill everyone.
So
Anyway,
I like that game.
you
I
can go
didn't.
on
I
that game.
didn't. The only thing I didn't like about it was the revolver slot. He did go slightly camp throughout the whole game for some reason.
In fairness, he wasn't that much better in 4. Have you played 4?
I have started it. I got to the bit where you get the chap with the monkey and the thing and the like weapons store place.
Oh,
And
Drebin.
Yes, I've not played since then.
See, I beat that one. It wasn't too bad. I like the character Big Boss, though. That's the thing. I like Big Boss. I just don't like some of the kind of villains in the game. There's just a bit... And Johnny. The character Johnny, the guy that's always got diarrhea.
No,
Do you not remember?
no.
Right? Do you not remember Johnny? Well, Johnny was kind of a joke character in Metal Gear Solid 1. He was a guard. And when Snake went through torture, Johnny was the guy that would always kind of run away, clutching his stomach.
You mean now?
And then in Metal Gear Solid 2, he was on Big Shell.
Yes.
Behind one
Yeah.
of the things. In Metal Gear Solid 4, he became a main character.
Oh.
And I was just like, what the hell? At this point, I realised that the reality warping drugs that Hideo Kojima was on were just a little too...
Let's be honest, Metal Gear Solid's never been shown to the most... How do we put this nicely? The most sort of grounded reality games really there. I think it starts off alright, then sort of about 2/3 of the way through it usually goes a little bit Japanese.
a little bit that's the thing now, is it?
Well,
No, I understand what you mean. I do understand what you mean.
I mean, look at your Hyperdimension Neptunia.
Thunder
thing.
tits.
Thunder tits, yeah. And I presented to you previous podcast evidence of the dog ending from Silent Hill and Sony's I'm the Wolfman adverts, which I've now found out is actually, do you know, I actually said I thought it would be redone for the UK. Actual fact, it was actually a British-made cartoon short. But then Sony said, yes, that's how I advertise PlayStation. And the long version is even weirder.
I'm not going to go and watch that.
That'll be in the
I might
show
do
notes.
for a laugh one day.
That'll be the show. It's about 5 minutes long, and it's even weirder, the long version. And Sony saw that and thought, yes, that's what we need to advertise our games console with.
Monolith.
Yes, something like that.
I love the monolith. You can hit someone with that thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, to the
so-
actual podcast.
To the actual podcast.
7 minutes in. 8 minutes in.
8 minutes in, we're now going to start the podcast. So, Luke, you go
Yes.
first. What have you been playing?
Games I've been playing. Actually, I have been playing a few games. One that we'll mention later, that we mentioned in the last podcast, but
Yeah.
explosions happen.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sore point amongst us two, and
We'll shake someone. We'll go shake Hideo Kojima later. It's his fault. I actually played through Saints Row the Third,
right.
which I was set up to play and finish a while back, but we didn't get around to it because we were doing a Let's Play. I've been trying to LP finish this game for a good year, 2 years or so, I think. I was in the last house before. I was still living in wonderful Norwich City in Norfolk with all the farmers and that.
Norfolk, the
And
natives.
yeah, managed to finish the game. Me and Chalky managed to finish the game on co-op. It was really damned fun. Over the top version of GTA with none of that kind
Yeah.
of crazy realistic physics stuff they put in 4.
I've never played a Saints Row game.
I would recommend it. I mean, you'd have to have an Xbox 360 to play the full series because the first Saints Row game is an Xbox 360 exclusive.
Right.
From Saints Row 2, it was put on everything.
Isn't the first one the one where you get like 80 feet tall? Or am I thinking of the wrong game?
I think you're thinking of something else.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
No, in Saints, basically,
The
Saints
PC
Row,
gamer there talking about games.
Saints Row 1, you're basically just some innocent random dude walking around, or chick. I think you can have a chick in Saints Row 1. And basically the city is kind of overrun with gang violence. You end up walking, you cross the path with a couple of gangs. You get saved by another gang, the Third Street Saints. You get initiated and then eventually become the boss of the Third Street Saints.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do. And then...
I've had that many
well,
times.
in Saints Row 4, because, you're the leader of the Saints, you become the President of the United States. That's how extreme...
Right.
Saints Row is just a massive joke. It's Grand Theft Auto, but funny.
It's a spoof version of Grand Theft Auto.
It's better than Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto... you got to think Saints Row. I think Saints Row 3, Saints Row the Third came out at the time of Grand Theft Auto 4, and Grand Theft Auto decided to take this kind of really gritty, dark crap game with semi-realistic driving physics, and people don't want that in a sandbox game. They kind of want Just Cause style physics, where your cars bounce around like.
I hate to say it, that's something I actually enjoy.
Well, then you're sad. Go and jump off a bridge.
Mate, I want to play Farming Simulator. Of course, that's something I enjoy.
But Grand Theft Auto was horrible. Grand Theft Auto 4 was horrible because it wasn't fun. The whole point of Grand Theft Auto is to drive around in cars, but the driving of it was horrible. If I wanted realistic driving, physics, I would have played Gran Turismo or a driving simulator.
Yes, but can you shoot 'em ups in Gran Turismo?
Well, they fucking... Look, seriously, Grand Theft Auto 6, because there will be one, just blend the two together. And we'll see how it goes.
Alright.
But then Grand Theft Auto 5 is apparently quite
Rockstar,
good.
if you're listening.
Which they're not, because they hate me. Because I said that their last... Look, the only decent games Rockstar has made, or the Grand Theft Auto 1, Grand Theft Auto London, 2 sucked a dick, 3 was okay, Vice City was pretty fun, San Andreas, which everyone bombs. I hate that game with a passion.
San Andreas, I really struggled in that I don't understand what they were saying. About coming across offending so I've already offended enough people as it is. I was sort of hoping there would be a subtitle version that would
translating it.
Yeah, there's one which says, I think it says, there's a phrase which took me a while to figure out, which was, I think it says something, I'm down with that.
Okay.
And that means, yes, I'll come along with you.
Dude, you are so uncool.
yeah, I didn't know what it meant, and I kept saying it took me a while, and I thought what I need to do is be like a sort of 18th century British man translation of it. And it says, when it says like, yo motherfucker, it'll say, you have deeply offended me.
That would be brilliant. I am going to go over the entire game and redub it. I'm going to do a translation video.
Just subtitles on the bottom.
I'm going to do a translation video. They'll have someone say something in another language, and then they'll kind of cut from the native speaker to some really sarcastic British prick.
Yeah. So most of San Andreas. I'm still not quite sure. I played it till I got to the third island, and I got to one mission I couldn't do, and I'm still not quite sure what's going on. All I know is that something's happened to you.
I wasn't a big fan of San Andreas. Grand Theft Auto 4 wasn't bad, but the driving was just spongy. It just wasn't fun. And if I'm going to spend the majority of the game in a car, even if I can shoot people and beat prostitutes to death, it's just, if I can't...
Which is just general harmless fun.
Exactly, which is what we do every Saturday night anyway.
Yeah.
But if I can't get in a car and run them down and have fun doing it, then Grand Theft Auto just skips. It's just not cool for me. Although apparently Grand Theft Auto 5 fixed all that. The entire Saints Row series fixed all of that. But, the fact that, look, in Saints Row the Third, you can walk around and beat people to death with a ginormous pink dildo called the Penetrator. From that moment on, I was sold, because it's hilarious.
Yes.
See, Nick's not all that impressed.
No, that's not something I would find particularly funny. I have to say.
Brain of a 3-year-old.
I used to enjoy the listening to the radio stations in Grand Theft Auto. Do you have those in the Saints Row?
Yep, you've got some pretty cool stuff in there. I mean, Saints Row is just really, really over the top. Parts of the game kind of take place in like a Tron-esque cyber world.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun. Beating up luchadors, like Mexican wrestlers. It's just really crazy. Like Johnny Gat, one of the main characters in the series, is spoiler alert for the first 30 seconds of the game, killed off. I mean, Gat in the first game gets shot in the leg and walks it off, pretty much.
As you do.
As you do. In the second game, I thought I was going to hate Johnny to start with, but when he says in the first game that the best way to take down Benjamin King, who was supposed to be this really badass tactician tough nut guy, is to just storm in there and wreck him. Just shoot the shit out of him. I was like, Johnny, that's a great plan. Straight through the front door, just how I do it. Just lay waste to everyone. My kind of plan.
He won't be expecting that. He's going to be someone who's sort of made a nice, complicated... Anyone attacking him will make a nice, complicated plan.
Which is what the Saints were trying to do before Johnny said, fuck it, let's just blow him up.
Yeah, it's fair enough. It's a fair comment. To be fair, it's what they tried in World War II of Hitler, wasn't it? All the cunning plans at the end, someone just said, let's put a bomb in the boat.
Let's just go. Fuck pussyfooting around, let's just get in there and go.
And it didn't work.
Shut
It's a
up.
bad example, but...
It would have worked if I was there.
Can you still, in St. Row, get a tanker for a slurry and spray people on the street with it?
You can do all kinds of crazy stuff in Saints Row.
Because having worked around slurry tankers, that would be a very nice thing to happen.
You can fire people out of cannons.
Yeah, it's alright.
It is absolutely brilliant. Although there is a character in it called Zemos who has... What's the thing where you smoke too much and you have the old hole punch in your throat?
Oh.
And then you have to have the little buzzy gizmo to speak. I can't remember what it's called, brain fart. But he basically, he has that kind of sitch going on, but when he speaks, it sounds like a rap video because it's auto-tuned. And every time he speaks, I want to murder him. You have to save him from a brothel.
Do you need saving off from a brothel?
He did, because he was bound with a dildo up his backside and
Right.
given a horse's saddle and stuffs. And, well, I just wish I hadn't saved him and had just beat him to death and put him out of his misery.
See, more diversions in games is what we need.
It's a good game. Try it. Try it. If you want a more over-the-top Grand Theft Auto, try it. Although, from what I hear, Grand Theft Auto 4 is pretty damn crazy now, but I haven't... Or Grand Theft Auto 5, sorry. But I haven't played 5. Got it, just not really... played it yet.
Well, you know my feelings on Grand Theft Auto 5. PC!
Yeah, which is never going to happen.
You know
What have you
happened?
played next?
Well, now, I don't know how you class. Would you classify it as a classic or new game? Because it's a remake, it's a re-imaging of a classic game. I'm playing a game called Superfrog HD. Did you ever play the original Superfrog on Amiga?
I had an Amiga, but I don't remember playing it.
It was one of the, back in the days when...
The game, I mean, not the Amiga.
Yes. It was back in the days when there's a lot more advertising in games in some ways. You had like Zool, the Chapper Chaps.
Yeah. Cool Spot was 7-Up. And
Yeah. Superfrog was sponsored by LucasAid.
LucasAid
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they start us the game, and basically it's your typical sort of fairy tale story. An evil witch steals away the princess, and this is the prince, turns the prince into a frog, and he's all depressed, and then he finds a bottle of Lucozade floating down a river.
As you do.
As you do. He drinks it, and he turns into a super frog. And it's back in the old days where basically game developers sort of said, yeah, we hate our game, let's make the game ridiculously hard.
Yeah, that was just like the old days.
So the first mission you're okay, and then as you go on, you get harder and harder and harder to the point it's just ridiculous. There's the last level. There's 20 levels in total. You're split over 24 levels, split over 6 worlds. Oh, it's those back in the day. So basically, design the levels first, and then have to try and work out how the story is going to work. Magic Forest is the start.
Right.
That's where the prince was when he got caught. So I'll give you that as a head start. Next one is a haunted castle.
Usually castles are the last thing you go to.
Yeah, this is the second world. Okay.
Is there a fire world?
No.
Okay.
After Haunted Castle comes Circus World.
Oh my God.
So in the Haunted Castle, he gets somehow captured and sent to a circus. After the circus, it comes Ancient Egypt. Because he finds a time machine at the circus, because apparently they all have those.
Well, of course they do.
And then sends himself back to Ancient Egypt. Then he decides to freeze himself to get back to the future, right? And he goes, but somehow by freezing himself, he ends up in Ice World, which again you have to have. And then somehow he ends up in a futuristic space station. And then he does the final boss war against Witch back in her castle, which you were in World 2. Why he didn't do it in the first place, I don't know, but...
That's old school Amiga gaming.
Yeah,
for you.
let's just design the levels first, and then think of the story afterwards.
Make it up as you go along.
When I had this on the Amiga, this back in 1993 it came out on the Amiga.
Oh my God, was it really that long ago?
Yeah, 20 years ago, yeah.
Is that the A500?
Yes.
Oh, I love the A500.
Me and my sister never ever finished it. We got to the very sort of last level, the last world, couldn't get past it. Got to a bit, we just couldn't figure out how we used to get past it. So, of course, we finally were glad I finally finished it today. I thought, we're going to find out what happens. And what we do is get a single picture of the princess kissing the frog, turning to a frog herself, and that's it. Like, oh,
That's a nice twist, isn't it?
We waited 20 years for that.
So wait, where did you get this game from? The remake from
Steam.
Oh, okay.
Steam's got it. Yeah, it's been remade by Team 17, who made the original.
The guys behind Worms, right?
Yes, they did Worms. They did a couple of some racing games as
I
well.
can't remember what else they did, but yeah, I saw Team 17's name on some other stuff I was looking at the other day.
So they've remastered it. So what they've done is a bit interesting. Rather than just updating all the graphics, which they have done, they've done all the worlds. They've made all the levels again. So they've sort of used the original levels as inspiration, but then redone them completely from scratch.
Okay.
But as you go through the game, you can also unlock the original levels. And what they've done is they've just, using the new engine, they've obviously just recopied the levels as they were.
Okay.
I know it sounds hard to explain. You have to sort of see it.
Well, no, but I was going to say, like, how would that translate? Because surely
they've copied them. Exactly.
So they've just. But I mean, does like the physics all work the same? Like, jump heights and that the same?
I probably so long ago since I played the original. It's hard for me to.
Because that's what I mean. Like, if they've literally just laid a retro skin over the top.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't done that. What they've done is they've used all the assets, but they've designed the levels to match the old ones.
Oh, okay.
But all the same assets and everything is the same. But then their normal, what they call the New World levels are they've sort of took the originals as inspiration and redone them.
Okay.
So often some levels are completely different, the new levels compared to the old. Some you can tell have been inspired by the old levels. But what you then learn when you play that is they were a lot more evil back then, because I played the last level today of the New World, and that was ruddy hard. I then went to load up the original copy, as it were, as in their copy of the original level, and that was 10 times worse. It's just pure evil. That was back in there. It was just pure evil.
Good times. But then the game had to be.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get blown away by shiny graphics and crappy story.
And you had every level's time is way to get to the end within a time frame. And the first one, the new one, the first one you had to collect a number of gold coins before you could unlock the exit.
Right.
And there are a lot further of them there, so you had to really explore the levels to unlock the exit before you could finish.
Is this a new remaster, or is this something they've released recently? Because I've noticed a lot of kind of the older games from the Amiga and, say, the Sega Mega Drive and the NES and things have been remade recently.
Superfrog HD got released this year. And literally only a few months ago.
Okay.
It appeared on the Steam. I was looking through sort of the Steam like new releases section, and it was on there, so I thought, I'll grab that.
Fair do. So I mean, they recently redid DuckTales Remastered, where they remade the original NES game. One of the Mickey Mouse's Illusion series games got remade on the PlayStation and Xbox as well. Apparently, that one was really quite good. Like a lot of the remasters are quite good. I
remember the Illusion series. We had that on the Sega, I think.
Yeah. It was a Sega Mega Drive game. For the life of me, I can't remember which of them was actually remade. Cause there's actually a small series, isn't there? But
she'll like that.
I think it's on the. I think it is on the Xbox, or on the PlayStation. So it's on one of the two. So probably pick it up for a couple of quid and play through that. And I'd be interested to hear what people think about it, because then I might pick it up for my boys.
Yeah, I remember playing it a lot when I was a kid. Bad things about Superfrog.
It's a remake of an old Amiga A500 game.
No. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm reliving my childhood a little bit, so that's fine.
The nostalgia's there.
Nostalgia's there. Bad things, and I don't know if this was the original or not, but he moves ridiculously fast. It's literally 2 speeds, still or full out. So when you're trying to do sort of fine manoeuvring, and of course it's got instant death spikes, you literally sort of breathe near a spike and it kills you.
That happens all the time, dude.
Yeah, I know, but when you're trying to manoeuvre around them and you've got a frog that just as you hit any direction button, he just runs.
I mean, I've never, in fairness though, I have never known the world to be kind of flat, 2D, and I run into spikes. No, I always thought that I could walk around spikes.
No, I don't know what world you're living in.
Yeah,
the world's flat. Do you know how many things I had to jump over today to get here? I was jumping on mushrooms to fly them down to get past. It was a nightmare.
Turtles?
A few turtles, yes, I did have a few turtles.
What about robotic wasps?
Not had any robotic wasps. I did have to run around some rings though and collect some gold rings though on the way in.
Wow. You must be feeling really tired now.
Yeah, I'm knackered. I tell you, I'm actually knackered.
How many bottles of Lucozade did you find floating down a nearby river?
I've seen in Superfrog HD that it's not Lucozade, it's a magic potion. Obviously, they lost the license, obviously, for that. Lucozade obviously just,
Lucozade
I don't think Lucozade could afford it. They couldn't afford the license to be a Superfrog HD.
I wonder wonder if they've actually had an Iron Brew game. We need to find that, and if they haven't, we need to make one. So I'm addicted to Iron Brew.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we'll give the lawyers a ring.
We'll give the lawyers a ring.
Hello, I too now want to make a game about you.
I love Iron Brew.
What
It's diabetes in a bottle. Now watch we get
what
sued.
would the theme be? How would what would the Iron Brew game be?
I don't know. How to get diabetes and live with it.
Maybe. Perhaps it could be a sort of meta game that you brewed irons.
That would be kind of creepy.
Well, no, because you just put an iron in a pot and brew it.
That would be very weird. Could you imagine someone getting a kettle and then putting an iron in it?
Yes, I could actually. It's not that hard to imagine, really.
That's really weird. That's tripped me out.
If this is Japan, this would be normal.
Yes, it probably would.
There you go.
Now watch this. Seriously, I'm going to get killed by like a random samurai ninja now. That's all your fault.
Yeah.
Okay. Or giant robot's going to come step on my house.
Yeah.
Great.
Or to use that internet favourite phrase, meh.
Damn it. So you were saying bad things about the game. Anything other than you spaz out and run into spikes?
Yes, there is. In between each level, you get a little fruit machine that you can spin to, and you win things. And what you win is new levels, the original levels, basically.
Oh, okay, so that's it. All right.
Yeah. The trouble is, once you figured it out, I'd unlocked all the original levels. I mean, all of them before I could build World 2.
Brilliant.
So, but then, of course, after each level, you still got to do a spin machine, fruit machine, and you have to.
So is there nothing to unlock after you've... Oh.
I would have thought the other thing to me would be like to win lives, perhaps, instead.
Yeah, lives continues.
Yeah.
And bobs.
Stuff like that. Well, you can always continue it. There's no...
no limit to continues, okay.
Yeah, there's no limit to continues, but you start back at lives, basically. It's got checkpoints in it, so life, you go back to the checkpoint, but when you die, you go right back to the start of the level.
Okay.
It wasn't for my mouse had a wire attached to it last night. It would have been across the room last night.
It's a good thing, like, seriously, wires?
Yeah, it's a good job that my wireless mouse is broken. That's that. Otherwise, it would have been broken last night.
Ah, the joys. I might have to find an Amiga A500 emulator and just kind of find the original.
Yeah. Other bad things is they've redone all the music. The new music is a lot worse than the original. When you play the original levels, you get the old music, which is so much better. I mean, it's just so much more inspired and better, whereas all the new ones, the music all sounds the same.
I was going to say that they just put dubstep on it. We sound so out of touch.
We do, yeah.
Like, oh my god, we are so old.
Yeah. It's just a little bit. But overall, I think if you've played the original, then yes, I'd say get it.
How much is it?
$6.99. If you played the original, get it. If you've not played the original, then there's probably not a great deal there for you. Some of the interface is a bit obtuse. I couldn't figure out for a long time how to select worlds.
Okay.
Because you have to use your mouse and drag them. I couldn't figure. Everything else you select using the arrow keys.
And then for some reason that one thing they
you have to click on it with the mouse and drag it across like sort of an iPhone interface, like the old cover flow.
Yeah, that's kind of trippy.
Yeah, it took me a while. Oh, it does support joysticks. I was amazed. I had a joystick plugged in. I just went and touched it, and it moved the frog.
You were like, oh my god!
Yeah, and then I tried playing with it and found it was impossible.
You need to plug in an Xbox control pad. If you can find a wired Xbox control pad, it would be interesting to simply change the interface.
That's me spin on the floor because you mentioned Xbox and control pads.
Yep. Sucks to be you, Steambox boy.
Steam machine.
I jump off a bridge. Seriously, I'm going to make... Every time this happens and I have to say that, the bridge is going to get higher.
Okay.
And then soon I'm just going to be able to get a GoPro and you will drop for hours. You will be up in space.
Yeah.
Spacesuit, re-enter, crispy, and probably nothing left at that point, splat.
Yeah, fair enough. How could you splat? There's nothing left.
Just in case, there's a little tiny.
Oh, okay.
Just in case. Just in case. I've got to... The camera at least has to survive. But
Yeah.
the camera can go splat. Or
The
smash.
fact that I'm dead won't worry you, but the fact that the camera survived is about...
What else am I going to put on
damage.
YouTube?
Well, there you go. Luke's planning to murder me. If you like, I can give you the address of that mine shaft again.
Yeah, please do. Siri stopped telling me where you were going.
Yeah, I had words with him.
He was like, off.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that when you use it so that it can understand the British accent, you have to have it as a dude.
Yes, I noticed that. And the thing is, my friend's got a Garmin sat-nav, and he's got a voice pack for it that basically reads up all the street names.
Mm.
It's the exact same voice. I mean, it is the exact same voice.
What are you doing, Apple?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. It must be some generic voice where they've got it from, but it's the exact same one.
Scary.
Yeah. So, Luke, what else have you been playing?
Right. Pokemon. The Pokemans have recently released another game in the series. I don't know what generation it is. I can't remember how many bloody games there are in the series now. There's
80?
Probably. There's millions of Pokemans now for you to catch. They have made the first 3D Pokemon game.
Right.
On the Nintendo 3DS. The idea is that it's supposed to bring back all of the kind of old school Pokemon fans from the very first and second generation of games.
By making it 3D and completely different.
The way that they've kind of brought back a lot of the old starter Pokemon. So the idea is that as each generation comes out, you get all new Pokemon with all new evolutions and things. This time they've said, hey, look, here's all the old ones. Now you can have them again and some new ones. Ooh. In fairness, I don't really care that much for it. I mean, the normal Pokemon games, way back in the day, for anyone that doesn't know what Pokemon is, the idea is that you're some random kid in a world where they decide that when your child becomes like, 3, you just push them out the door and say, hey, go on a journey, go and
I've always wanted that.
Go and tame wild animals, use them to fight other animals that other people have caught, or the random ones you find in the wild, trap them in small balls, and then go to each individual city that has a league gym where you can get a little reward for beating the crap out of their captured animals.
So it's child endangerment combined with animal cruelty.
Yep.
Excellent.
So yeah.
What a lovely game to be letting youngsters play and teach them about the world around them.
It's absolutely brilliant, and then there's always some really random evil organisation out there trying to get more money or burn things
Well, it
or
must
something.
be really evil if you, the child who's out by himself, who's capturing and forcing animals to fight each other, if they're evil, how bad must they be?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's one of those games where you're actually playing the bad guy and the evil organisation's actually the good people?
So I haven't managed to figure that one out yet. I haven't actually seen much about these guys yet, but they're really the villains in this game. Sarcastic air quotes are they're pretty
It's better.
camp. I was going to say, it's not a bad game, but the old games you could breeze through them in about 8 hours. So there were 8 kind of gym leaders badges that you could get, and then you'd take on the kind of champions of the sport or whatever.
Okay.
And then all you'd have to do is kind of collect all of the animals and evolve them and all that kind of stuff, all the Pokemon. In this one, it's not 8 hours. I've managed to burn 30 bloody hours in it, and I'm probably only now halfway through.
Ouch.
I think... No, Sorry, my mistake. I'm 13 hours in.
Oh, right.
Inky, my wife, was 30 hours in. I don't know how they have managed to make you burn so much time. I've been talking to a couple of older Pokemon fans who have said, look, you could probably burn through the game in 9 hours. I don't personally see it. I'm probably 6 badges in, 13 to 15 hours in.
It's not one of those games where you could burn through quickly if you just go straight for all the, for lack of a better phrase, story missions.
There is no story in it.
Right.
It's literally going from gym 1 through 8, whilst tackling this evil organisation in between. There's hardly anything to it, yet I've still managed to burn 13 hours and still not... For the first 4 kind of, I guess, missions or gyms or whatever you want to call it, trying to explain it to people who don't play Pokemon. To get through the first 4, that's what I burnt most of my time on, and I was really struggling with it. It wasn't a hard game, I was just like, I don't want to play it anymore because it's so slow. If this was any other Pokemon game, I'd have been halfway through by now.
You're effectively grinding, in a way.
It felt like it. But the game is a lot easier, which is weird. It's a lot easier, but it seems like it was moving so much slower. But from 4 to 6, it's been like instant. So I can't understand why it's...
Perhaps one of those games where it's what you start off with at the beginning is too low a level, low in abilities that those you get through quickly. When as you've got unlocked everything, you can now defeat things because you've got all the abilities you need.
Let's put it this way, but in the older games, by the time you got to Gym 3, you could pretty much curb stomp people, you could one-shot people. Still pretty much the same can be said about this game. I just don't understand what's taking so long, because it's not like the world is huge. It looks great for a 3DS game, for a portable game. The music's pretty nice, the graphics are nice. I don't know, maybe I'm too old. Pokemon lost me after the second generation of games. Just,
I remember, I don't know how crap this was, but didn't they used to make Pokemon, like, each game had several versions, like Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Red?
Yeah, so they've done that again with this one. So you had Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Right, and then what is the actual difference between them?
Alright, the idea is to capture, train, collect, trade, and battle with other people. Can you remember the virtual pet craze? Years and years ago, back in the 90s, I guess, like early 90s and mid-90s. Pokemon was basically that for Game Boys. And so, if you had the red version of the game, you could say collect majority of the Pokemon, say minus an exclusive 15 that were available on the other one, and then you'd have to meet up with a friend, or it was kind of like a schoolyard game, I guess, where they were expecting.
But you'd have to make sure your friend got a different colour game to you.
Yes, which was a bit of a problem because apparently a lot of people didn't get that and decided to buy both versions.
I was going to say, yeah. Once you buy both versions, so sort of. So was it always a computer game, or did it start like a trading card game?
No, it started off as a video game, then it became a trading card game, and a cartoon, and movies, and more games, and extras, like loads of different little spin-offs, and virtual pets, and...
So, the different versions, do they have, like, different Pokemons in them, presumably?
Yes, so
how have they balanced that? So is there like out the three, is the red version the one with the best Pokemon? If that's the case, why don't you just buy that?
There are only, say, 15 to 20 exclusive Pokemon on each version. So the idea is just to trade those 15. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. You'll have the same 3 starters in both versions. So when you start your quest, you get to pick one of 3 in pretty much every game. And those will be the same in both versions. It's just at some point or another, little things will change.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was in Generation 3, Pokemon fans are going to kill me. I think that was Ruby and Sapphire. The villains changed, so the bad guys were a different organization.
Right.
So they had different motives. Legendaries, which are like the kind of the tough nut, old school Pokemon of, Stone Age times or whatever. The Pokemon of Legend, the one-offs.
Wouldn't it have just been easier just to have, like, as you unlock Pokemons, it's like randomly picked for you, and then what you randomly get, you can then just trade with other people?
Yeah, but they can't sell that.
Well, they make their own version of the game, don't they? I'm not a Pokemon fan, I never was.
It's not a bad game. If you are a Pokemon fan of old and you have a 3DS, get it, try it. It's worth playing through. I might actually warm up to it and like it once I kind of get back into it. Like I said, I was really blown away by it for the first, say, 4 hours of the game, but after it started to kind of wear off, the kind of, oh wow, shiny change is different. It wasn't all that fun because it felt like a grind because I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere fast like I would in the older games. And then when things started to the pace started to pick up again, I was like, oh hey, this is not that bad. I have a funny feeling that it may die off for me again pretty quick.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's got tons of new features in it because now we've got Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. So your console can connect to the internet before you have to sit next to someone with a connection cable and trade and all that kind of stuff. But now you can do it over the internet. Loads of new features, loads of new mini games, and all that kind of balls. If you're a fan of Pokemon, give it a go. My wife seems to like it, a couple of my friends seem to like it. It's funny that the target audience for Pokemon games is supposed to be like, I don't know...
10-year-old children.
Yeah, like 10-year-olds, and most people I know that play Pokemon are, late 20s to 30s, so...
Probably because they want to remember it.
Yeah, they're not really kind of hitting a new audience with it, but...
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think the program's on TV anymore. I've never seen them on TV, I don't know if they are.
I think they still are.
Are they? Well, I don't watch television very much, so I don't know.
Does anyone?
No, I suppose not.
cut the cable, just watch what you want, when you want, but that's another story.
Yep.
What else have you been playing?
Well, it's also been Halloween, which I
Yes.
hear is some big holiday in America. And and Steam has been having a Halloween sale. And so I bought Amnesia: The Machine for Pigs, but I've not played it yet, so that'll be a future podcast.
That's the
discussion.
game made by the guys behind Deus Ex, though, right?
I have no idea.
Horrible game. It's not really a game.
Well, we'll see in a few weeks. We'll see.
The Amnesia, I'm sure, is a game, but Deus Ex was absolutely horrible.
We'll see in a. I think you're right. Actually, we'll see in a month's time once I've had a chance to down play it, because that's my horror game over Christmas.
Marvellous. Horror game over Christmas.
Well, you've got to have a horror game over Christmas. Last year was Thief. This year it's going to be Amnesia: Machine for Pigs.
Yeah, sure.
What more? Leads to tiding and joy and lovely and being murdered.
We'll
What
make a
more?
video of it.
Yes. Good. So, but on there is so that was reduced to price, but there's also one game called Ghostmaster,
Okay.
and that was reduced down to 79p.
Why?
Well, it's a very old game.
Okay, I
It's
was
only
going to
like
say, what's wrong
It was
with
like
it?
$3.49. To be fair, it's not too bad. I remember it was one of those games I remember playing a demo of back when you used to get demos of games. Back sort of in the day, sort of 2003, 4, I think it was originally released.
Okay.
And I played the demo, I thought, this is quite interesting. But the demo didn't make do it. One of those demos didn't do a good enough job of explaining exactly what you were doing. So I played the demo. I thought, that's interesting. And it sort of got put back in mind that if I saw it cheap enough, I'd buy it. But because it never really sort of took off right, never really got a good market. I don't know if the company did anything else afterwards. I don't recognise their name anymore. I couldn't tell you even now. I can't remember who they did.
Don't really care.
I don't really care. I don't know if it really took off quite right, so I never ever saw it cheap, but I saw it on Steam. I thought, well, 74, 79p, I might as well give it a shot.
Mhm.
Download that. So basically, it's a strategy game where you play the bad guy. A bit like Pokemon.
Yeah. You play Peter.
Yeah. So you are a Ghostmaster, and what you do is you've got a team of ghosts, and your job is to scare people out of the house, of the houses, these buildings, and so forth.
Reminds me of a Sega Mega Drive game, I think. I can't for the life of me remember what it was called.
But it's quite interesting because your ghosts you've got, for starters, you have to bind them to something. You can't just put them in the house anywhere, they bind them. And they have different they call them fetters. I'm sure there's some names for ghost binding things. I
Okay.
don't know much about the paranormal. So, for example, you'll have one who's got an electricity fetter. So he can bind to anything that's electronic, but he couldn't bind to, say, water. Then you have one who's a water fetter who can bind to water. And you've got like ones, and it's quite sort of well versed. So, for example, the air fetters can bind not just to air, they can also bind to things like bicycle wheels because they've got air in them.
Okay.
And so forth. It's quite cool. You bind them, then you have to make them scare the people. And all through this, you have this resource called plasma. No, it's not. Is it plasma? Yeah, plasma. It's called plasma.
Whatever it is. We'll
It's
just make it
not.
up.
It's not pronounced about plasma, but I've always called plasma. Which basically is how much fear is being generated, and you can only generate every power you use a turn of a plasma. It's not like a repeating resource like you use up like mana on most games. It's just like you can spend up to 200 plasma. You can have 2 ghosts, each using 100 each, and they'll use 100 each constantly. And as long as they're getting more, people are getting more and more scared, it will go up and you won't run out. But if you want to have, say, a third ghost in there, you can't. You've spent your 200 plasma already. You can't. You've got to get rid of one before you put a new one in.
Okay.
So you get more plasma when scaring people. So to be fair, initially it's quite tricky. You have to sort of pick your target, who you're going to scare. So you look for one who's got the lowest sort of fear, sort of terror rating, the ones easiest to scare. You pick on them. If you're lucky, you can find out their fear. And if you've got a ghost who, like, for example, say someone's scared of burning, you can get a ghost who can generate an inferno. You can put them in there, and that will really terrify them. And once you've scared them off, you get more plasma. You can then call more powerful spirits, and gradually work it up and gradually scare everybody off. That's your most common mission. But it's got some very interesting sort of puzzle-style missions.
Okay.
Okay, so let me give you an example. I had a house and the story I was given was that an old lady lived there. And she's like having people round, and what she used to do was put arsenic in her tea,
Okay.
as you do, and she'd hid the bodies throughout the house.
Oh, nice old baggage.
Yes. My mission wasn't to scare everybody away, it was to get the people living there to find the bodies. So, let's say if you had one, for example. Now, there's these what they call restless spirits, who are these ghosts who are basically sort of trapped somewhere, and you have to do a little puzzle to free him. So there's one, for example, on the roof, and he's an aerial electrician, and he got trapped there when she phoned the disaster team. He was trapped in a chimney. His body was trapped in a chimney, so he couldn't go anywhere. So I found this ghost who could attach to earth. His fetter was earth. And one of the things he could do was thump the ground, like a little mini earthquake. So I found a pot plant, because it had earth in it, attached him to that on the roof, then thumped the ground, which caused this guy's corpse to fall out of the chimney. Goes down the chimney, but that doesn't go all the way down to the chimney, it's just gone all further down. So I need to find a way to get people to know he's in there. So downstairs in the living room, I get another ghost, and I bind him in there, and he's got one which is called Cold feeling. I get him to cast that, so the room goes cold. So because it's cold, the occupants think, I'll put the fire on. They put the fire on, of course the smoke can't get away because it's blocked full of this dead guy's corpse.
Which I thought it would have been from the boy.
You would have thought so, but apparently not.
Okay.
So they then call in for some reason they call in some sort of engineer, mechanic guy who comes to fix a fire with a wrench, because that's obviously how you fix blocked fire chimneys.
Of course.
Who goes, he looks underneath the fire, finds his dead body's body, who then calls in the police.
The police nick the family and they get dragged.
Well, no, see, this is. I'm not sure quite what world they live in, these people, but the police come in and they find this one dead body. They look at it and they say, might be a coincidence, and go away. So you have to find another dead body. Yes, you have to find another corpse, to get the police to come back again a second time to complete the mission. It's a bit of a puzzle game as well. There's another one you have to get people to help people perform an occult ritual, but you can't do it too directly, see, because if you make it too overt that you're doing, you'll scare them off because they get scared of seeing it go. So you have to sort of the book was buried underneath like a trapdoor, so you get your thumping ghost to uncover the trapdoor, so they'll go downstairs, and then you quickly sort of get another ghost who has telekinesis to move the book so they can see it. It's all quite indirect. You can't say move book or anything. It's just you put it in the room and just trust the power to do what you need it to do.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's okay. I'm glad I didn't spend 30 quid on it when it came out, because I wouldn't have spent that on it. It totally makes you think of, if it was an indie game, I'd think, yeah, it's quite interesting, quite unusual, probably worth a look. As it's done by a proper developer and publisher, maybe not really that good, but it's only even off the sale end, it's only about 3 quid on Steam. Might be worth a look. You might find some enjoyment out of it, but I wouldn't say it's worth that much money. But it's alright.
Alright, fair enough.
Fair enough comment.
Brilliant.
Good. Well, I think we can move on to stuff we're looking forward to. Now, looking at not that we have any plans for this show, obviously, but looking at our notes, you're a bit light in there.
Yeah.
I think it's basically you got nothing he's looking forward to. He's a miserable old man.
Other than I got suckered into the Wii U Zelda edition.
You talked about it a couple months ago.
Yeah, well, they've now, because I didn't get. Right, a lot of people are buying 3DSs because they want to play Pokemon. Nintendo released a Pokemon 3DS XL for people to be like, ooh, and buy a 3DS because Nintendo are probably going to go the way of Sega within the next 50 years or something stupid, whatever. They've gone and bloody released a Zelda 3DS XL, the extra large 3DS. I already have the collector's edition Zelda 3DS. Now they're releasing a bloody fucking extra large one with the new game that's coming out, and I'm all like, oh no, now I'm going to have to go out and buy a 3DS XL because there's a Zelda edition. That's all I'm looking forward to. Don't really care about much else at the minute. Not that I really care that much about the XL either.
No.
But
Okay, so, well, I've got a couple of things. Now, technically, this first one we're looking forward to is Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut. Technically, that's not really looking forward to because it's actually already out. But I've not played it yet, so I'm looking forward to it. So I've not played it yet. Now, did you ever play the original Deus Ex Human Revolution?
no, but I got it. I got it, but never got a chance to actually sit down and play it. I heard it was pretty good.
It is a really good game. It's a proper sort of... It's one of those games I mentioned briefly last podcast. Maybe I was Montreal who were reading Thief. I was really nervous about getting Deus Ex because the first Deus Ex back in 1999 was a fantastic game. Brilliant game.
Never finished it.
Never finished it. No, I've done it about 5 times. Loved that game.
Sure, it's fair to say you're a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan. There's a sequel to it called Invisible War, which...
People said that sucked.
It didn't... Right, it wasn't a good Deus Ex sequel. If it wasn't called Deus Ex Invisible War, if it was just a generic science fiction shooter, people would have liked it. Because it was as I said, it was a Deus Ex sequel, people hated it because basically it took all that made Deus Ex good and threw it away.
Yeah, apparently it got really, 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 really hyped, and everyone was like, "No, it's fucking shit."
You lost basically all Deus Ex. So you had like RPG mechanics. Deus Ex gone. You had weapons, for example, on Deus Ex. Also, usual thing like all different ammo and so forth. That was gone. Every weapon used the same ammo resource, which they sort of said, well, that means they said, what the idea is that these nanobots form to whatever weapon type you need, from anything from a bullet to an exploding rocket, whatever you want. The trouble with that idea is a nice idea. The trouble is, it's all well and good until you run out of ammo. You've run out of ammo for everything.
Aye.
It happened to me a couple of times. That's a bit of a mistake. The big draw about the original Deus Ex was you could augment yourself with augments, strangely enough. That gave you extra abilities so you could lift stuff and you could upgrade them to get more stronger.
That wasn't a very good example. You can lift stuff. 1 second, check this out, everyone. I'm lifting my mouse.
Heavy stuff. Or you could, for example, I had one which was cloak, which meant I was invisible to people, so I had invisibility. And there's another one which made you invisible to cameras and bots. 2 separate. So you had to pick which one you're going to have.
We need those.
We do. We need to make one that's invisible to Siri.
Yep. Well, in fairness, we just need something that makes us invisible to the British government.
Yeah. So okay, as long as the US aren't involved. Then we're okay.
They always
Yeah,
are.
they always are. So you had these two, arguments and so forth, and basically, the second, you had one for about 8 different parts of your body you could fit augments to, and you could have a variety of choices. With Invisible War, you had 6 slots, and it didn't matter what. In original Deus Ex, you had one for your head, one for your legs, and the leg one you put an appropriate leg-related things like move faster or move stealthily, but you could only pick one or the other. What they did for Invisible War was say, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. You simply can have whatever augment you want anywhere. There's no body part location. You just have 6.
So you can stick it to your forehead and run incredibly fast now and be incredibly quiet.
You just had slots. You had 6 slots. You could put whatever you wanted in.
Lame.
So they dropped that from the Invisible War. It was all little things like that. They basically took a lot of the big bits and ruined it. But it wasn't that bad a game, really. It wasn't that bad.
So if it was a standalone...
If it was
its own thing, it would have been alright.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games like that. But
There are.
I've just drawn a blank and can't...
Silent Hill 4 Homecoming. Silent Hill 4 The Room.
There you go.
And that's what I think did that in. So Deus Ex Human Revolution, very nervous, but came out last year, really good. They'd really gone back to the original game with they loved the game. Because although it was a modern take on the game, it had a few compromises to appeal to obviously the headsets, the console people. So you had a cover system.
Yeah, cover-based shooters for the
cover-based shooters.
There is a cover-based shooter I kind of like though.
What one?
Army of Two.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like half your room is decorated in an Army of Two memorabilia.
Yeah, and the other horrible thing about me being a big fan of Army of Two is that it's by EA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to think about it.
I feel a bit dirty every time I praise. Yeah. Every time I praise my little temple. Every time I go over there and start bowing.
You sort of aim toward. Do you have to sort of kneel towards the EA head office?
It's like everything is kind of lined in just such a way. Don't fuck it up, EA.
They will, though. They're EA. So Human Revolution come out. It basically they took the things. So for example, you had proper grid-based inventory. You could drag and drop things in. You had keypads. You had to type in the number rather than just automatically putting it in for you.
Yeah.
Little things like that. Had some bad bits though. It had boss battles in it, which in the original Deus
I
Ex,
remember people complaining about
in the original Deus Ex, you could sneak around the bosses and find other ways to deal with them. It had bosses in it as well, but you could deal with them different ways. Human Revolution, basically, you had to kill them.
Firefight.
Yeah.
Okay.
What they've done now in Director's Cut is they've reworked them all and they've made it possible. And I mean, they've rebuilt the areas, put extra vents in, turrets, compoos, and so forth. It's now possible to defeat all the bosses without firing a shot.
Okay, that's cool.
They brought that back, yeah. They've also added in 8 hours worth of commentary, which I like in games. I always love getting commentary in games. Valve did it quite often with all their games. You can go through, you play it through once, and then you can go through a game with commentary switched on. You get these all nodes, and you activate them, and then you'll just get someone from Valve, either an animator, level designer, programmer, or some of the voice actors will talk you through some of the stuff they did, why they did it this way. That's really interesting.
I hate to say I'm going to sound like such a traitor to the PC Master Race, but I haven't really played many Valve games outside of, well, Paul.
Paul had a commentary mode, didn't it?
Yeah, I'd never bother with it.
Well, it's very interesting. You want to learn about game design, it's interesting to listen to. Because they talk about some of the compromises they make, why they design levels certain ways. If you play Half-Life 2, Half-Life Episode 1 had a commentary in.
I haven't beaten Half-Life.
Oh, right. Half-Life Episode 2, Episode 1 had commentary, and they explained, we put this bit in here because we found through playtesting that people get a bit fatigued, so we put something different to give them a chance to relax down. And it's really quite insightful to how games are designed, actually. It's really interesting. So about commentary, I don't know how it actually works, so I've not played it yet, so I don't know how the commentary's going to work. You also get a documentary. They've also done a few other things like, I've actually got my hasty scrawled notes. They've improved some of the graphical bits, but they've improved the graphics slightly. Obviously, you can't do a lot because it only came out a couple of years ago, so you can't do a great deal of improvement.
It's in 4K, Ultra HD.
Yeah. Now, here's a nice thing, actually. If you've got it on Steam and you own because basically there's a piece of DLC called The Missing Link they released, but it's not really proper DLC because it actually downloaded as a separate game. So it ties in with part of the game where there's a part where you basically go unconscious, and then the original game you go unconscious and then you wake up a few days later. The Missing Link fills that bit in.
So basically it's a regular weekend out.
Yeah, it fills that bit in for you. So all you have to do if you want to play the proper story in the game with the DLC was play through the game till you get up to the bit where you get knocked out, save it, quit the game, and then run the Missing Link game separately and play through it. They've now integrated that into the Director's Cut. That's all integrated all together.
Okay, so a nice one kind of piece deal.
Yeah, that's good.
Less hoops to jump through.
And this is the really good thing. If you own on Steam Deus Ex Human Revolution, you get a discount Director's Cut. Because you can't buy the other two anymore, you get a discount on it.
It balls on it, hang on.
Oh,
where's my mouse? There it is.
If you own the Deus Ex Missing Link DLC as well as Human Revolution, you get even bigger discount. So it's at the moment it's normally $12.99. I got it for $3.49.
Oh.
Which is I thought because I was a bit, I won't lie, I was a bit annoyed about having to pay $12.99 for a game that I already owned.
I'm not curious as what do I actually own it on? Because apparently it's not on Magical PC.
You sure you got it?
Oh yeah, I've got it. No, why it might actually be on OnLive.
Ah, could
That might be one of the games I got free with OnLive.
It wasn't on live.
Yeah, that would probably be where I've got them.
Alright. So if you don't own it, so if you do own those two, it's worth getting for $3.49. I've not played it. I'm going to look. That's one I want to have a playthrough, have a scene, see how good it is.
See how good it is.
But yeah, if you haven't got it, unfortunately, you're going to pay $12.99 for it.
And that turns out they pulled a Thief 4 and
yeah,
fucked it up.
Yeah. The other one I'm looking forward to is The Walking Dead Season 2. The Walking Dead is by Telltale.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's an adventure game. Point and click adventure game. Well, no, that's a lie.
It's a quick time event game.
It's a quick. That's a bit like it's not point and click. You do move around. It has got quick time events in it, but I tell you what, they're the only quick time events I've ever played that I've actually enjoyed. They're they're slightly interactive quick time. So, for example, what you'll get is you're getting attacked by a zombie, and then also you'll get your mouse, and you'll have to move it over the right part of the zombie to click the mouse to attack it, which is sort of quick time, sort of not, but it's done very cinematically. It's also got, unlike other games where you'd have to switch between 8 different keyboard controls, all the quick time events in default mode use Q and E. You alternate between Q and E. Right. That's it. Every quick time event uses the same controls. You don't have to worry about anything else.
I think because that was done in episodes, wasn't it?
It was,
and then they re-released it as a disc, a single game for the consoles.
Yes, which apparently wasn't very good.
I have no idea. I believe we have the PlayStation 3 version of it.
They did what they called Walking Dead Season 1, and that was in 5 episodes. And they were done as proper episodes like a TV serial.
Right.
So each one had a distinct theme, plot throughout it. There was a running arc behind them. You play as a character called Lee, who's actually, when you start the game, you're a convict. You're being sent to prison. You've just been sent to prison for murdering the lover of your now ex-wife. You caught having an affair. You murdered her lover.
Normal stuff.
But you're driving along in a police car, and the police officer ends up somebody walks out in front of me, ends up hitting them, and you have a massive crash. Get out of the police car, eventually find your way to this house, and you come across this little girl called Clementine.
Here we go.
Right, who's lost her parents, or she's lost her parents. You don't tell her that. To the zombies they've been on holiday, and you know that she's lost her parents.
Right.
And you take her under your ring, and she's not a liability at all, because it's not an escort mission. There's no parts to it. The way it's set up,
you're just supposed to be like, oh look, now I'm attached to this kid. Now she's gonna die. I
tell you what, actually, the characterization is excellent.
I have seen some clips from the games. I have never played them. I have been tempted to, but then I'm not really all that interested in the series.
The series, yeah. The TV series?
Yeah.
Well, you see, it's a bit confusing. There's a TV series which is based on a comic book.
Yeah.
The game is also based on the comic book, but fairly cleverly, they base it on the comic book. They went their own continuity. Bad bits about it. As you go through the game, you get to make choices and decisions, but the general way the game plays is the same. So your decisions will only affect a short-term solution. So I'll give you an example. You have to make a decision to leave a character behind or take him with you. Whatever decision you make, by the end of the game, within a few minutes, you'll have lost the character. You'll have lost the character anyway. But the reason for losing them will be the reason
is different.
Yeah. You can't try it. The other thing about it, bad points, achievements. Right.
No. Not achievements.
It's achievements of playing the game. Achievements. I played the game through on one playthrough. I have every achievement.
That's fine, but I hate achievements.
I agree with I'm not a fan of achievements.
I hate achievements, I hate trophies, I hate whatever it is they call them when they bolt them into games. A lot of people I know love achievements and trophies. Hey, look at that, so much stuff. No, it fucking doesn't. It's annoying, and if you do randomly decide to play multiplayer, you just want to go to someone's house and beat them to death, because you'll always find that little bastard 12-year-old that's after the grenade kill achievement, and he'll be standing there all game, doing the one thing over and over again until they get it.
Yeah. Achievements, I think the original idea of achievement was, and it's been bastardised basically, it was for if you actually play the game, you
get the achievements over time.
Yeah. But what unfortunately happens is people just game them to get them.
Yeah, they're achievement farming. So 12 headshots was like 50. I can remember one game, the first game I think I played with achievements in it was Perfect Dark Zero, which is already a bad choice for the Xbox 360. So they had things like 50 headshots with sniper rifle, 50 pistol kills, 100 whatevers, blah, 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 grenade kills, all that kind of stuff. And you'd go online, and all you would see is, rather than people trying to get them over time, because obviously they stack up, so let's say you play the game for like 6 weeks online, eventually you unlock all the achievements. You would jump into the game, he'd kick the shit out of some little noob kid, and he's going to be going for the pistol kills, or the snipe kills, or the grenade kills. You'd lay waste to the little bastard, or he'd waste you, whichever, and then he would do the same thing again, and again, and again, and you'd know that he'd just dinged that achievement because his weapon would change.
Yeah.
He'd then go for the rocket kills, or something like that, and you're just like, look, just play the fucking game.
The trouble, I think the mistake Xbox made was the fact they introduced your gamer score and tied achievements to it, so there was actually a reason to get them, because it improved your gamer score. As soon as you do that, people want to get it. As soon as you have a number that can go up, people want to get it.
Yeah.
At least on something like Steam, your achievements don't really give you anything.
I still don't see the point.
Especially
not on Steam, I don't get it.
But I can sort of see it's nice to sort of like, for example, you like say Deus Ex, you do something. I did something in Deus Ex which I thought was right, and I got a little achievement that sort of reflected that, and I thought, oh, that's all right, that's a nice.
But the game is supposed to make you feel like you've done something right. You shouldn't have to have a little.
But
the
ones I don't like are the ones where you get for just playing the game.
They're actually the ones I prefer because there's no way that some little bastard can spoil the game.
True, but I just don't see the point of it. It's not.
I don't see the point.
Congratulations, you have completed a level. Well done. Oh, good. I've done what I meant to do.
But then, what is the point of having achievement? That's the whole thing, though.
There isn't any point.
There is no point.
There is no point to it.
Just get rid of them, please. Get rid of them.
Well,
forever.
Unfortunately, I think too many people like them for them to be got rid of.
Go back in time, find whoever came up with the idea. Gone. I cannot stand achievements. I can't stand trophies. I know people that actually take time out of their day just to get platinum trophies or 100% achievements. So they're like, oh yeah, man, like I'm 100% in these games so I can get this score or this level. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Just why? If you don't want to play the game on whatever difficulty to start with or to do whatever anyway, why bother? I mean, like, I can remember when I used to play, games on Xbox and PC and PlayStation. We didn't have achievements, but we still found other things to do. We didn't need achievements to encourage us to fuck around in the game.
No.
But apparently, this generation of gamers is fucking dumb, and it just makes me angry. They need to be led.
If I was going to make an achievement if I was going to put achievements in my game, what it would be just the one achievement, and you get the game, you run it, and as soon as the menu screen pops up, it would say, congratulations, you know how to switch your game on. One achievement, 1,000 points. Done.
Ding.
Just done. There you go, 1,000 points. That's your achievement.
Hyperdimension Neptunia had a start new game achievement, actually.
Did it?
Yeah, which was great. I was like, it came up in the top corner, I was like, ding, you've got an achievement. I was like, the fuck, what have I done? And I was like, you've just started a new quest. I was like, whoa-hey!
Guess what? An achievement for completing the tutorial.
I don't remember that one.
As soon as you complete the tutorial, you get an achievement. It's like, well, I'd hope I would be able to complete the tutorial.
That'd be really funny if that's the one.
What little kid out there needs their power back saying, well done, little Timmy, you completed the tutorial. There you go.
GG, little guy, GG.
There you go. Anyway, I didn't mention about actually Walking Dead Season 2.
Right, it's gone. What's the damage?
Damage? Well, they've not released much information about it.
It sucks.
No, it's not gonna suck. I don't think.
It is.
It's gonna take all your decisions you made in the first. It's gonna import them over.
Oh, woo. I haven't seen that before.
No, hey, but it's a nice touch. I like that sort of thing. It's adding to my continuity.
Oh. Right, go on.
I'm going to character. But this time you play the game as Clementine, as a 9-year-old girl.
Oh god,
that's going to be interesting. I'm intrigued to see how it comes out. I have faith in them.
Just kill me now.
I have faith in them.
For Christ's sakes, just kill me now. The Walking Dead. There's zombies, but we can't call them.
Actually, not apart from the entire game, no one mentions the cause of a zombie.
Yes, because they can't, because they're crap. No one cares. It's a shit series. Fucking look, The Walking Dead is one of those series that gets shoved down your throat and up your ass. Just kind of like how people shove Breaking Bad down people's throats.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Good stuff. But just fuck off. Okay?
Yeah.
It's... Okay, talking about trophies and achievements hasn't helped me any here.
No.
Just slightly angry. Okay, you may like the game. Just, please, everyone, just Shut up about it, please. But yes, there'll be a second one. You'll enjoy it. You'll love it. Tell me about it when I care.
Okay. Well, okay.
I will put it in the show notes.
I was going to say, let me know when you care about it so I can do it.
Okay.
Okay. That'll be in the other news section. Lucas decided to care about games.
Things that I finally give a crap about.
Okay. Alright, fair enough. So moving on to other news. Any other news you'd like to discuss?
Oh, Christ. Other
You've got a
news.
choice now.
We do. I'm actually looking at the notes.
I know. We don't have notes. No, it's all off the fly. This is all off the fly. We don't have anything.
It pretty much is. I mean, we've got like 3 words written here, and then we managed to like branch off into everything else.
Pretty much.
It's great. Best podcast ever. I am so glad we ain't doing one of these a week.
Yeah, it would be pretty traumatic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, look, people would have to spend their entire week listening to it constantly.
Yeah.
It would be like an audiobook, an unabridged version of the Bible in audio form. Oh my god, that'd be insane. Which, by the way, exists.
What? Why are we in audio form?
Unabridged, in full, from start to finish.
How long would that take to listen to?
I have no idea. I think it was like 19 hours on Audible.
Actually, it's not as long as I thought.
Seriously, if anyone wants to find out
You
the
could
numbers...
do that in a day. You could listen to the entire fullness of God's words in a day.
I think I would rather jump off a bridge. In a day?
What, jump off a bridge? Well, you could easily die in a day, couldn't you? Jump off a bridge.
Jumping off a bridge in a day?
Doesn't take that long at all.
Let's see which one is more exciting. Seriously, if it comes to... Right, you have to listen to it over time... Or listen to it all in a day and then jump off a bridge. Or jump off a bridge. I think I'd take the option of jumping off a bridge. I could not listen to the whole thing in a day. That would be quite traumatic.
Yeah.
Probably as much as The Walking Dead.
Perhaps we could do Let's Play on it.
Oh my god. A Let's Play on the Bible. There are a lot of Bible games out there, like actually educational
they're all
Bible
universally
games.
bad.
Yes. So we're getting something here. You know, the Bible, listening to the whole thing in a day. It's pretty...
I might give that a go. I've never read the Bible, so I might listen to it in a day.
Is he crazy? We're gonna have to lock him away or something. There's something wrong with you, dude. First The Walking Dead, now you're gonna listen to the Bible.
Oh, Walking Dead. I like Walking Dead.
Could you imagine if they'd put the entire unabridged thing in? This is the thing that terrifies me, okay? I think to myself, right, there's an audiobook of the Bible, and I've gone completely off topic here, but...
Slightly.
There's an audiobook of the Bible. In digital form, it's going to be pretty meaty, but it's not going to matter, 'cause it's hard drive space.
Yeah.
What the hell happens when you put it on physical media? Because I've heard... It reminds me of that time in The Simpsons where I think Homer pulls the audiobook of the Bible off of his shelf, and it looks like a book, but he opens it up and it's full of tapes. It's got like a couple of tapes in it. So... How many actual bloody tapes would that be? Imagine how thick that would be.
Theologically, a tape used to hold, what, 45 minutes was on a tape, or was it 90 minutes to a tape?
90, I think, maybe.
90, so if it's 19 hours long, that's 90, that's an hour and a half, 3 hours, goes into that 6 times. You need sort of 12, 13 tapes.
That's a hell of a lot of tapes.
And 13 is a lucky number, which is a good number of tapes for a Bible with an audio version. Well, I don't think 30 actually mentions 13 in there anywhere.
Well, we're going to have to check. Someone check.
Yeah,
Fact check that.
I'll listen to the Bible and audiobook from and I'll report back next month.
Seriously, if you listen to the whole thing in a month, wow. I'd be quite scared.
I've got a day off next week.
Coming from a guy that looks like Jesus, that's scary.
If you are the second coming, we're in deep trouble.
Yeah, pretty much. I never left. It's just I got kind of bored and started playing. I found video games and
you started to do Let's Plays instead of spreading God's word.
Alcohol and women.
Yeah, fair enough.
You guys don't need saving. You came up with all the good stuff already.
Fair enough.
Just saying. Now some God Squad member's going to come and kill me now.
Yeah.
I have no problem with,
What's that church in America that's like really racist and homophobic?
I've on that again.
Who basically like just sort of are horrible.
The ones that the guys that protested, I can't remember. I was really glad I don't remember.
They gave a British, I think it was Russell Howard or some sort of British comedian. They gave him, he met some of them, and they gave him some sort of post that says something like, "Oh, you horrible fag lover," and he says the thing is to me, it means I like cigarettes, which is true.
Didn't they make? I'm pretty sure that someone bought a house across the street from this place. Was it Westboro Baptist or something
Yes,
like
I think you're right.
that? I can't believe I remember that. So what have I forgotten to remember that? What important information have I thrown away to remember
The
that?
Konami code.
Oh my god, I hope I haven't. How else am I going to beat Contra? Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure someone bought a house across the street from this place, and then they painted it in rainbow colours.
Oh,
I thought that was a brilliant troll.
that was that's really expensive troll as well.
That's 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
But who the hell ever did that? That's brilliant. That is ultimate trolling beyond my level.
What you want is then turn to a place to which conduct civil partnerships.
Oh man, do it. Seriously, if that place hasn't been burned to the ground by the God Squad, do it. Do it. Anyway,
back to other news.
and just confirm the facts on the Bible that Nick has spewed out, and figure out how long the audiobook is.
Yeah.
I will not be listening. I think I actually own it.
Why do you own that?
I don't know. I can't.
Did you get a free? Because you're G's, did you get a free copy sent to you? It's like sort of like publisher deal.
That's pretty much how it works.
Oh, fair enough.
You know, my name is in it, so
Right.
why not?
So,
I'll check later. I probably have though, because I was bored. That's the thing when you get credits and you haven't got anything to kind of spend them on.
you just buy random
But
stuff.
because normally they charge you more based on the length of the book, and I want to know how much it costs. But it was 1 credit, so why not, right? Okay, so something that we were going to talk about in the games we've been playing section that we mentioned in the last podcast.
Yes.
This isn't really hardware and other news. This is kind of more of a flashback, but
It's a combination.
yeah, it was a hardware issue. So we mentioned that we were going to play through Rain.
Yes.
Which
So
is
you're
the-
probably wondering where our video of Raiden is.
Brilliant PlayStation 3 exclusive. I
Very
quite
good.
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, and I hate consoles.
Yeah, which is crazy. A gorgeous game.
Beautiful
Really
art
was.
style.
Emma called it.
No, I disagree.
What?
That was clearly not a dream. Sorry, spoilers. That was clearly not a dream.
That was a bloody
That
dream.
was not a dream.
It's a dream.
That was not clearly not, because the little girl had the same one. It's not possible, is it? They're all in some sort of interdimensional world.
Look, seriously, dude.
I want my 50p.
I figured you'd try and talk your way out of
But
it.
it's not a dream.
Seriously, dude.
It was not a dream. Clearly that wasn't.
Coming from the guy that likes Metal Gear Solid 3, not taking this. Not having it. Anyway, it was
It is
a good
a dream.
game, and we had minor technical difficulties.
Well, it was quite major technical difficulty, to be fair.
Yeah, I almost wanted to cry by the end of it, if I had to be honest.
So, picture the scene. We've sat down. Luke said, let's do a let's play on it.
Yep.
I've never done a let's play before. I thought, yeah, let's do this. Got myself all fired up. We sat down.
Yeah, we literally sat down to play the game from start to finish in one sitting.
We knew it was about 3.5 hours long, so we thought, great, let's sit down, let's do this. Got all the audio set up, did the level check, all fine.
Yep.
Previous to this, we just better mention, Luke had done some test recording on his camera because we were going to do a video
Yeah, we were going to do a full-blown live video setup. We set up the
some
DSLR, we set up lights.
That didn't quite work out. We had some tests which he's copied to his hard drive to have a look at, and it wasn't quite right, so we just left them.
Yeah.
So we sit down, we set the recording going, we start playing the game, we take it turns, play all the way through, really
Thoroughly
enjoyed it. Thought, great, yeah, let's get it sorted out.
We hit the stop button on the audio recorder, the same recorder that we use all the time for the podcast.
Yeah.
And it crashed. There was a random error. We were like, what is going on? Why has it locked up?
Yeah.
A horrible, horrible feeling. You know, in the pits of my stomach, I was, oh my god, I couldn't believe it, because it threw up like literally hundreds of error messages, didn't it? And we had these really random...
Thousands, I think.
We had really random kind of fluctuations in the waveform, which you mentioned partway through the playthrough.
So
which,
it didn't look right.
yeah, but we powered through anyway. So, I mean, you destroy the flow of the video, and break the immersion of the game. We looked at the hard drive. Now, I have to make it clear that my machine is full of hard drives and pretty much every part is recorded to a separate drive. I would never normally record things to my main operating system drive, which is a piddly small SSD, which is where those video files also got copied to earlier on before the thing. I figured out the problem with it. It turns out the drive was full. My main drive was full. It did not have the space for all the audio, so it basically cut off the last
hour and a half.
Yeah, about 2 hours of audio we lost. It was horrible because it was actually really fun, really good, and we would have never been able to get that kind of reaction back. The first impressions were brilliant. Now, just before, I think I've mentioned before in a podcast where I had a 2 terabyte hard drive just randomly flake out on me.
Yeah.
That would have normally been my audio capture drive. Well, there are 2 issues. Either that drive died, which caused the audio recording software to default to its default directory. To go back to its default directory, which was my SSD. Or it could have been an update to the software which had caused the default directory to swap back to default. But either way, it was a fucking disaster. And so we lost majority of the audio.
Bear in mind, we got to about, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning when we were doing this? Something like that, and
it just...
And you sort of hoped maybe it's saved in the RAM, maybe if we delete stuff off the hard drive, it'll be able to save itself and we won't lose everything, but it was not to be. And we got the first sort of hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then it all went pear-shaped from there.
If anyone is actually interested in seeing the first kind of hour
and a half,
then I will actually make a kind of 3-episode LP style thing, and then we'll just kind of follow that on and do an actual kind of short review, because we have come up with some things of what we like about it and what we don't like about it.
There are some good and bad things. Perhaps we can briefly mention them here.
Okay.
Good things: art style gorgeous, music lovely, sort of general idea lovely.
It was different.
It was very different. Bad bits. It introduced a new mechanic. You use it perhaps twice, and then you never hear it again. And it held your hand so much.
Pretty much the entire way through, you were being dragged.
Yeah, it never let you experiment and try and figure out things for yourself. It just told you every single step of the way what the mechanic was and how to do it.
I mean, in fairness, we say that things were introduced and then dropped after maybe 2 times of use. So we won't say specifically what until we actually post up, say, a review or whatever. But there were kind of variations on that mechanic, but not quite.
Yeah, some depends which one you're referring to. Some were used. There was one that was used. I can count on one hand how often it was used, and it was used like the first half an hour, and then never seen again. And then there was some that were introduced. It caused you trouble initially, but then the rest of the game, it didn't really bother you anymore. And it had the most annoying, and the final boss was very annoying.
We say boss loosely. The annoying geezer that pretty much follows you the entire bloody game just gets in the way of it.
Yeah,
I mean, the whole point is that he's supposed to get in the way, but not really quite as much.
Yeah, Charles never gave you a chance to sort of.
You never really felt threatened by the guy because he was always up your ass.
Yeah, it was just more annoying than threatening. That was, I think, trouble. It wasn't a constant threat. It was just annoying.
Yeah.
Than anything.
I mean, all right. So to say that you didn't feel threatened, it was you'd kind of shake the guy.
Yeah.
And then you could literally count to 5. He'd be there again. And so what was the
What was the point? You never felt that you actually achieved anything.
Yeah.
Until the very end of the game, when after the boy leaves that sort of fantasy world.
The other one, I bashed the Ouya a lot. The Android games console. And I think I'd mentioned in the past that I'd actually backed 2 Android consoles over the last year.
You did, yes. Episode 1.
Yeah, the second one was called the Game Stick. Now, I didn't realise until recently that the bloody things had shipped. They actually shipped on time, unlike the bloody Ouya. I can say the Game Stick's actually pretty good. It's an Android console that's actually good. I mean, we've got it on my desk. The console itself is basically like an MK802 Android stick, which basically runs Linux or Android. It's basically, I don't know if you've seen them.
No. It looks like a big flash drive.
Yeah, it's basically a flash drive, but instead of it being USB, it's HDMI. It has micro USB to charge it or power it, because it can be powered by televisions that provide power through HDMI, I guess. Yeah, expandable storage, blah blah blah. The Ouya doesn't have expandable storage. Android on it doesn't seem like a crappy skin over Android. The whole thing has been quite nicely put together.
Yeah.
It looks nice, it's intuitive. The control pad it looks really bulky and dodgy. It looks kind of like a flat Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
It looks like a Super Nintendo control pad with 2 sticks bolted to it.
My first thought of the control pad I saw was somebody else trying to copy the Xbox control pad.
Well, in fairness, the Xbox is a rip-off of the Dreamcast control pad.
I know,
which
but
is the rip-off of the Super Nintendo
it's
control
got
pad.
the 2 analog sticks, not in line set up.
Believe it or not, these are actually quite comfortable.
Oh, right.
They are actually they're a little bit too sensitive for my taste, but they're quite comfortable. The control pad works. That is my main gripe with the Ouya, other than the fact that the software is shit. The control pad on the Ouya is crap. And the main fanboy thing that is said, because I've had a little bit of an argument with Ouya fanboys recently, because Ouya keeps posting things up without researching it, so they'll say, hey look, people love our games, and then at the end of the video they'll say the console's shit. And then Ouya's like, hey look, they love our fucking... No, they don't. They think your stuff's shit. One of the main things that Ouya fanboys will say is, hey look, if you don't like the fucking control pad, use an Xbox or PlayStation 3 control pad.
That's not really the point though, is it? If you're...
Exactly. If you buy a bloody console, you expect the control pad to work. Some people will say they love the control pad, other people will say they hate it. I personally say it's fucking spongy. It's built to a price. If you're going to sacrifice... Like, they could have cut back on the hardware a little bit and improved the control pad, but they didn't.
No.
It's a very cheap, horrible, nasty control pad. I don't know why they changed the triggers, for example. They operate differently from every other trigger I've ever seen. Every other control pad I've pulled apart. It's just not a very nice control pad. But they'll defend it and then tell me to use something else. My argument to that is that the Ouya is a £99 console with 1 control pad. A control pad for the PlayStation 3 costs about 30 quid.
So it's now a £130 console.
For £130, you can buy a PlayStation 3.
So why not get a PlayStation 3?
Exactly.
And does that come with 1 or 2 control pads to PlayStation 3?
Just the 1.
Oh, right.
But still, you've got a PlayStation 3 that
Which is a lot more powerful than an Ouya.
Yep, and I understand that the Ouya is supposed to make, developing games and the TV more accessible. But look, a cheap system, blah, blah, blah. You can do a lot more with 130 quid than buy an Ouya.
Here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Ouya is an Android-based console.
Yes.
So is the Game Stick.
Yes.
Do you have to use games designed for the Game Stick or the Ouya, or can you run any Android game on it?
Right, the bonus to the Ouya, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is that you can sideload Android games on it. Sideloading basically being that you can find the APK off the internet or pull it off one of your Android phones, and if it will run on a Tegra 3 system, the Ouya is basically a Nexus 7 tablet.
Yeah.
If it will run on one of those, it will probably run on the Ouya. A lot of people were sideloading apps and games from the Android marketplace to play them on the Ouya. They don't run very well a lot of the time, because they haven't been optimized, but you can do that. The Game Stick, on the other hand, is locked down, from what I can see, to just the Game Stick store.
Right. I'm sure there'll be a way to...
Android on the Ouya it's a very horrible skin. In fact, you can go to the advanced settings, because the Ouya is supposed to be a dev kit as well. You go to the advanced settings and it just flips around to the standard Android backend that you'd get on a phone or on a tablet. It looks fucking horrible. Storage management is exactly the same as you'd get on a phone. They haven't customized it in any way, shape or form. They've just literally skin stuck on the top.
It sounds like almost every part of it they have done a half-hearted job on.
And the trouble is, they got $8 fucking million.
How much? $8 million to develop that?
Yes. And they got other investors as well. So they are loaded.
They spent, what, $1 million doing the console and the other 7 having nice sort of holidays away.
Let's just say that nothing really changed from the initial video that they show off. I'm now actually quickly looking up the Kickstarter page for the Ouya just to say how much. Yeah, they earned $8,596,474. The Game Stick, on the other hand, only actually pulled in $647,000, and it's a better system. It's not as powerful as the Ouya.
No.
But it's better. It actually fucking works. They put some bloody work into it, and it's good.
They forced back, haven't they?
Yes.
Whereas all they've done is say, let's just do a games called based on Android, bundle it together, there you go.
Yep.
And they've done what looks like the bare minimum, so they've made a bare minimum controller. The Game Stick appears to have people who actually cared about it.
Yeah. And from what I remember, I think, and someone's going to shout at me, I think the guys behind Game Stick Play Jam, and they've done TV stuff like smart TVs and things like that. The Game Stick is, as I say, it's not as powerful, but it's just a much, much better system. I mean, they've made docks for it, so you can plug in microphones, plug it directly into your TV. It'll charge your control pads. Has 4 players support, so you can buy extra control pads. The Game Stick actually slots into the control pad as well, the one that comes with it. It is a nice system, and for 70 quid, so it's cheaper than the Ouya.
It's what the Ouya should have been, really.
Yes, it is. I get it. The Ouya is a dev console, and they want people. They're like, oh, hey, look, now you can go into Unity, which is something that would make the Ouya kind of cool for you. Now you can go into Unity, you can program your game, you can dump it on the Ouya because it's a dev kit. Load it up, bam, then you can put it on the Ouya marketplace and sell it. But no one will fucking buy it on the Ouya marketplace because it's crap.
Yeah.
Even the store is crap. Navigating the store is a chore, it's a mess, it's horrible. If you've, like the 3 people that actually kept their Ouyas, if you bought an Ouya and you don't like it, rather than letting the Ouya kind of dominate your thoughts when it comes to Android-based gaming consoles, have a look at the Game Stick.
Yeah.
It is pretty damn fun. I mean, I've already dumped 20 quid in it. In games, and the games are like £3 each.
It's not bad.
So I've just literally been throwing money at the Game Stick. And it came with Shadowgun, which is a premium title for the Ouya. That's basically Android's version of Gears of War. And I think back when I was working with the Big Nerd Show, we gave it Game of the Year. Android Game of the Year. It's a good game. So, Game Stick is a pretty good little system.
So, if you want sort of gaming on the go, 50 quid for that, 70 quid for that?
70 quid for that. Not quite gaming on the go, because you still have to plug it into a telly, but I mean...
Well...
A portable little game system. I mean, I'm actually curious to see what you have to do to be able to develop for Game Stick, because then you could probably put your game on the Game Stick store, and I mean, I would happily buy it. I mean, they run games developed in Unity, so... And that's something that we're both playing with, so...
Yeah, learning about.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to quickly mention a bit of software I come across about a month or so ago. And it's a lovely bit of software. Now, have you got any games that you would love to be able to use a joystick or steering wheel with, or a control pad with, but does not natively support it?
But doesn't currently support it. Yeah, I'd say a few of the more kind of classic-y games.
Well, this bit of software, and it's a sort of little group of people make it together. It's called Pinnacle Game Profiler.
Okay.
Don't confuse it with the Pinnacle, the editing suite.
Okay.
It's completely unrelated.
Okay.
It's about $20 to buy, so it's not very expensive. And what it does is, it sits like in the computer's mind between a controller and a keyboard.
Okay.
So, for example, what you can do, I'll give you an example. The reason I've got it is I've got a farming simulator, which I discussed last month, and I wanted the controls to use a loader. And I want to use a joystick, because that's what you have in a proper loader, you have a joystick. By default, that's not supported. There's no joystick support in Farming Simulator at all. So, what Pinnacle Game Pro allows you to do is basically, it will analyse the joystick, and it works with my old Saytech Cyborg Evo Pro, which is about 8 years old?
Couldn't say.
Alright, that's about 8 years old. It picked it up, it understood it, it recognised what it was, and then what it did is it gave me a list of all the buttons on it, on the screen. I could then map whatever keyboard command I wanted to it, So just normal letter keys.
Mm.
Then what I do is I run this Pinnacle game profile before I run the game. And what it will do is, whenever I move that joystick, it will then interpret that as a keyboard command. What's clever about it is that not only can you just assign, you can't just not just assign keys to it, you can assign what they call commands to it, which are basically all macros.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say. So kind of like what I can do with my mouse, I can program different key commands into the side parts on my mouse.
Exactly. I'll give you an example of Farm Simulator. If you want to move one of your test what booms in or out, you have to use left shift and I think it's M and N to move it in and out. Now, what you do is you can tell it to run a macro which holds left shift down and then push that button. So I can now basically with my controller, my joystick will now correctly, when I move in that direction, will send that command to the game, which the game recognises as
the key command. Okay.
Yeah, so if you're clever about it, you can do some quite clever things with it. So I've now set up a steering wheel that I've bought a steering wheel for as well, which I can interpret, which will now steer the tracks in a proportionate manner to how I've set it up, which is quite cool. And because you can map anything to it, and because it just sees your controller as a joystick, you can do pretty much whatever you want. And some quite complicated macros. So if you have got any old games that you'd love to be able to use a controller with, it's there. Kind
of like, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but this is kind of like what we talked about with the Omni and the Rift, where it would map key commands to different things, like to something different. So rather than having to completely recode the game for the specific device, it's kind of a bridge.
Yeah.
A bridge device.
The only point you have with it, it's still got to work with the limitation of the game. So there's certain things you can't do with it, which you can't trick. So, for example, Farming Simulator hasn't got much in the way of analog control to it. Mm-hmm. You can't give it a lot of analog control, and the ones you can do, it won't accept. For example, you could have your mouse set up to turn your vehicles,
right?
Or let's say you're pushing left and right, or you can have it move it forwards and backwards, and as it moves forward, the faster you move it forward, the more you accelerate. The game itself hasn't got enough support in it so that you can both do that at the same time, so you can't both accelerate and turn. It can't support it. So if you program Pinnacle to do that for you, which you can do by telling it to move the mouse forward constantly at a certain speed, which it will emulate mouse commands as well, including mouse movements. Mm-hmm. You'll then find when you play the game it doesn't work because the game can't support it natively. So you have got well built limitation of the game, but nevertheless it does make it a lot easier to use.
So I was going to say, does it feel normal? Because I mean, I could imagine kind of changing kind of key bindings that wouldn't normally fit on a control pad to something on a control pad. Maybe they'd be kind of like gaps. It wouldn't feel quite.
No, I've not experienced that because the way I've done it, I've sort of tried to keep it as logical as I can. And basically, what I did was I never changed any combiners in the game itself. I've just simply used what it had and I've mapped them to the control pad for me.
So I was going to say, it sounds kind of like when people would come out with something third party and it wasn't necessarily designed for it, it would just kind of feel clunky or foreign. Like it wouldn't feel as natural as it should do because there'd be kind of floaty little bits in between where it didn't really work as it should.
Because you can really fine tune in the case of access commands, so not just choice but access commands, you can actually fine tune. You get like a little bar, and when you move the axis, you can see like a little line moving to show you where the axis comes on the bar, and then you can split that bar into zones. So, for example, with my steering wheel, I can set a zone up to in the middle, like a dead zone. So unless I move the steering wheel beyond like more than 10 or 20 degrees, nothing will happen because I've set that dead zone up. And then I can enter extra commands, as I can have 8 zones, so I can have like different commands. So I've set up to try and be a bit more loose and move, to try and make it feel more natural to move it on either side.
And how long does it take to actually set this stuff up? So I still think it's going to feel a bit clunky. So I mean, you're going to have to remember. It's not like it's not like the game is designed for it, so it's going to feel a bit.
Well, yeah, but what you do is it's like when you set up any game when you get a new game, you remap the controls to what you're familiar with, don't you?
No.
Do you not?
No.
Well, whenever I get any first-person new computer game out, I'll remap jump to right mouse button.
Yeah, see, I'm used to that being space and then using WASD, QER, F. I mean, let's put it this way. Because I've been an MMO and RPG player for a long time, I'm actually used to using pretty much every key, one, down to the left control, all the way over to, say, G with my left hand with no problem at all, as well I'm a touch typer. And then when you look at my mouse, I have 12 keys on the side of my mouse.
Yeah.
I don't need to remap buttons. I'm perfectly fine with, say, jumping around my keyboard.
But if you had, do you have problems with any sort of muscle memory? So if you play a game that's decided to put jump on a M key, for example,
I adapt pretty quickly.
Oh,
you have to think I also played console quite a bit. So
I don't adapt quickly. I basically my key control set is a combination of the original Rainbow Six and Quake 2. It's a control set that I'm used to, so that's the one I've based all my games are based on that original control set. The only thing I changed was from the arrow keys to WASD.
Yeah.
That's everything I've changed in my control set. That's because most games had leading and stuff in which you had to have Q and E for.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't find that, because I would just set up every game to use as similar as possible control setup. Because what you should create like a profile for the game, and then you put a controller with it. So every game can have its own unique profile attached
and it will
to it.
automatically select the profile based on...
When you play the game...
You tie it to the EXE or...
Yeah, well, you add a game hook to it. You have to run Pinnacle first, and then as soon as you run the game, it knows the game is running, and then it will automatically launch the profile for you. You can also launch the profile directly through the. You can also launch the game directly through the Pinnacle software itself.
Okay, that's handy. That's useful.
And it works with most. It automatically as well. If you want to like shift the type to an EXE, it's got links in it. For example, if you want to say type to a Steam game, you simply open up new game. Click on the little Steam icon, it will list every Steam game you've got stored. Click on it, and it automatically finds the EXE for you, so you don't have to do it yourself.
That's pretty handy, that's clever.
Yeah, that is good.
And you can I guess you can duplicate these for if you want to, kind of, rather than redo the entire thing, like reset up all your keys and commands and stuff for a new game. Let's say it's another shooter, you can just say, this is what I want it to be.
Yeah, there's... It's not. Yeah, there's no direct copy function. What you have to do is export it and then open it and re-import it.
Okay.
It is a bit of software made by for what the feeling I get, by not a large group of people. It's pretty much one guy does the software by himself. So you got to be a little bit
that's
forgiving.
fair.
Yes, fair. And you only ask him $20 for it. And you can, if you don't want to do the profiles yourself, you can download all pre-done profiles for free off their website.
So I think there's something similar for people who want to use PlayStation 3 control pads.
It will recognise PlayStation 3.
Yeah. It might actually be the same piece of software.
Yeah, it will recognise pretty much any control. They've put support for pretty much every control pad, wheel, you name it. They've got, but you even recognise Wii remotes.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah, it's quite, and because you can set up all the commands yourself, you have access to all those commands as well. So you have access to all the Wii remote commands in your macros.
I've actually been quite tempted to try, and this is going a little bit off topic, to try a Wii emulator. So apparently they've actually now got some pretty decent Nintendo Wii emulators out there. And,
that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want a blast from the past and kind of mix in the present day or last gen, that's kind of a nice way to do it.
Yeah.
Because usually before, if you remember when like PlayStation 2 came out, it took a long time for PlayStation 2 emulators to really catch up. We were still kind of fighting with Super Nintendo emulators at that time. And
I think the trouble is that it's also just the emulators catching up as the PCs getting powerful enough to run the emulator. Because also you're adding an extra layer of computation.
There's a lot more work to do to emulate something rather than...
So it gets hard with every new generation of consoles. The PCs aren't fast enough to both translate it and then process it at speed quick enough.
Well, what I mean is it's now a case of, like now, how quick it is from something coming out before a base kind of emulator comes out for it. Really quite surprised how quick some of this stuff's coming out. But then you do have these like crazy like Russian and Chinese kids and all that just literally sitting there banging out code like you wouldn't believe.
And to be fair, also, there's more consoles. Their operating systems are based more almost like on, and the consoles themselves are more PC-based hardware.
Well, now.
They are now, but that's going to be easier because obviously the commands for the processor stuff are the same. So it's going to be easier for you to map stuff to it. I'd imagine it's going to be easier for next generation consoles. It's going to be even easier to make emulators.
I just have to quickly throw something else out there based on what you've just gone and said. I was listening to... I only listen to a handful of podcasts now. And recently on the Boom Explode podcast, one of the hosts basically said that... I don't know if you've kept up with any of the kind of next-gen system stuff that's coming out over the next couple of months.
PC Gamer, no.
Basically, they're saying that the PlayStation 4 is more powerful than the Xbox One, that the Xbox One, like, they were using Call of Duty Ghosts, I think, or Battlefield 4 as an example. The Xbox One can only play at 720, whereas the PlayStation 4 can play, whereas the PlayStation 4 can play at 1080p. And one of the hosts basically said that, it's probably going to get better because they're going to have teething pains like they do with every console. At that point, not taking any shots here, my eyes kind of rolled a bit and I was like, they're just PCs now. It's not like the Wii U where it's basically got its own crap bundled in and they actually have to learn something about it. I mean, seriously, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, from what I understand, are just x86
PCs.
Yeah, they're more, 64-bit PCs. They are just literally P-fucking-Cs with a shiny operating system slapped on top. The Wii U was a little bit different. I understand with, say, the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, the architecture was different. It was different. You couldn't just literally say, this is what we did on the PC, slap it on there.
Yeah.
You actually had to do a bit of work.
Yeah. It was better than it used to be many, many years ago when everything was completely different.
And you had to learn everything from scratch and really had to kind of learn how to eke every single tiny little bit of power that these machines had.
CPU cycle out of them.
But with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, I can't see that as an excuse anymore. And when people were saying to me that these consoles, they'd already pretty much reached their limits.
The only thing I can think going to cause trouble is whatever API the operating system uses. That's where your code is going to have to change, is the API and how the API may handle and how you communicate the API. If you don't want an API, it's basically it's a way of allowing hardware from different manufacturers to work with a type of software. It's a bit like a translator. If I want to communicate to somebody in Japanese, but I don't speak Japanese, it doesn't matter if I have a translator who understands me and understands Japanese. So a good example is DirectX API. It has a preset list of commands to do stuff. It's sent up to every graphics card manufacturer, both the graphics card manufacturers.
I was going to say everything.
Yeah, both to decide their own way how they're going to do that function, as long as it matches up with the API's matching function. So it's a little translation bit in the between.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can see is if the APIs and the coding is going to be different to communicate with the hardware.
But would you say that it would be so hardcore right now that there would be such a large learning curve that they couldn't
No, it's going to be easier. It will definitely be easier now. It's going to be a lot easier now than it used to be. I mean, let's be honest, there aren't many games that don't come out on all formats now simultaneously these days, or usually in a week or so of each other.
Yeah,
but in the old days, even going back to PlayStation 2 days, sometimes you'd get a game on PC and it wouldn't turn on PlayStation 2 for months later, sometimes.
And the other way.
But now, because of the way they are done, it's going to be definitely easier, but it still could be a few teething troubles in there.
But probably not as much to say, hey, we can only run at 720p, 30 frames a second or whatever, and then
that'll be just a little switch.
Oh, look, 6 months down the line, hey, look, or maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, oh, hey, look what we're doing now. It's not going to be like that. It's just not the same. You can't use the same excuses anymore.
Yeah. If the hardware's not there to handle it, there's nothing you can do about it, really.
Yeah, and from what I gather, hardware-wise, these things are just old PCs.
Yes.
They're it's new stuff, but it's not like what you'd slap into your gaming rig kind of thing. This is what you could
maybe
build one
a
of
gaming rig about a year and a half ago.
A bit older than that,
yeah,
I guess. But either way, if you want a console, go for it, fine. Yeah. I'm not bashing consoles, because I use them myself. I just thought that seemed a bit weird that people are still using that as an excuse for it. And
people always will, though. There's always been an excuse, and the developers use the same excuse themselves.
Yeah. I'm not even going to say that it's an excuse for the fans of the console. It's just it just felt weird to me. Whatever. Yeah. Moving on.
Flashback.
The tits.
So I've only got one thing really. I just want to say I'm a genius. and that I've got fantastic psychic powers because I predicted there'd be a Dishonored Game of the Year edition.
With all your DLCs
With
and
all
stuff.
the DLC, and what was released last month? Dishonored Game of the Year edition for $29.99. If you've not got it, go for it. You'll love it.
Brilliant. I did actually see that. I was quite surprised, and then it popped up in the show notes. I was like, oh hey, what do you know? It was called Win.
Yes.
For me, I have a couple of kind of flashbacks, I suppose. One of them being that last time we were talking about was it Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, and you thought that there was an Ico 2.
And there wasn't.
No, I basically had a look to see, and there wasn't. It would have been nice if they had have made an actual sequel to the game.
It was too weird, obviously.
But, yeah, it was too Japanese or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think Rain kind of felt a little bit like Ico at times. Just the way it kind of looked, I suppose. Maybe not, but Rain felt like a PlayStation 2 game at times.
Yes.
But it's really fun. So we'll just ignore that. And then the other one, we were talking about new YouTube channels, getting all the kind of messed up channel pages and stuff. And I said that my channel, because I'm a very old YouTuber, kind of like the old days, 2005, 2006. I said that my channel hadn't quite been forced to switch yet.
But obviously Google was listening.
Yeah, Google decided they were going to listen and say, hey, guess what? You're going to have to... Like, it said, if you want to continue to receive new comments, you have to swap over to the new system. And I was kind of like, you're going to stop me from looking from the way that I read it. It seemed like they were going to say, look, we're not going to update you with new comments anymore. If you upload a new video and you get comments, we ain't going to tell you about it. And I
Nice. Isn't that blackmail?
Yeah, it felt really weird. And I spoke to a few other content producers, and they said that, no, YouTube can't do that. And I said, well, they forced you to change to everything else they've done. It's their platform. We don't really have any say in it. It is free after all. So they've now started forcing people to do it. And it is kind of a mess, if I have to be honest. It's not really simple.
But as you say, it's not what you can do about it. It's not your platform.
It's just the way that they've... Okay, so what they've actually said now is that you have to tie a YouTube channel to a Google Plus page. The rules with Google Plus is that you have to use your actual name. A lot of YouTube creators don't like using their real names. Like, I use a pen name. A lot of people I know use pen names and things.
I just pen name. I will just hide to my real name.
So, what they have allowed is that you can now tie Google Plus in with a nickname. But initially they were kind of forcing people like, hey, if you want to transfer your YouTube channel over, you either have to use your channel name or your actual name.
Which, well, if you're say, somebody who isn't a person, who is a group, representing an organisation or group, such as our channel, we would be in real trouble because we can't. One of us would have to put our name to it. Yeah,
and that would have been a mess. And there's another YouTuber that was talking about this who said, look, if I had to use my actual name rather than, say, my little channel name or my pen name or whatever, you'd never find me because there is actually a famous sports personality with the same name.
Yeah.
So you would search for my name, you'd just get spammed with the results of him because he's obviously more popular than I am. I would just get lost in a sea of crap. So, I mean, you can keep your channel name. There was a trial, so you could link and unlink your channel if you didn't like the way that it changed things. But when you unlinked it, it would make an extra kind of profile using your channel name, which would then give you the option to either make a new channel under that profile,
right,
or just continue to use it as a separate page or whatever. To delete those pages, because they were all using your channel name, was a complete fucking mess, because it didn't really seem like there was much of a way to tell which one you were actually deleting. Were you deleting your actual YouTube channel?
Yeah.
And all of its content? So in the end, I had to, because I linked and unlinked and linked and unlinked. I was playing with the idea of maybe swapping it over to the new system. In the end, I had to find the page that represented my YouTube channel, throw on an icon, wait for the icon to refresh on YouTube's end, because you have to put the icon on Google Plus, like we did for the Rad Nerds page. So wait for that to then refresh on YouTube, which took a couple of days. and then kind of clumsily go through and try to delete the extra pages that it had made without destroying all of my YouTube content.
Lovely.
But it's now made it a bit of a cock-up because I can't now directly share. If I click the share button on YouTube whilst logged into my YouTube channel, I can't now directly share it to my personal Google Plus page. I have to share it to my channel's Google Plus page. I have to use the switch account feature. It's such a mess. It's just
nightmare.
Thank you, Google. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you for not listening. Continue to do whatever you want and ruin the goddamn platform. Oh, and in other news, on my personal channel, I filed to have my contract terminated with the YouTube network that I was with. And because the whole point of a YouTube network is that if you're like me and you put up gaming content or copyright content, other people's kind of IPs and intellectual properties, the networks could have licenses or deals with the content producers to allow you to use that stuff.
Yeah.
For whatever. I had to do that because I was an original YouTube partner from way back when YouTube opened up the partner program. So I was going through Google. I got click bombed. Someone basically decided to attack my channel because it's tied to AdSense, Google's AdSense. So if someone's going to listen to this and go, oh, that's a great idea, why didn't I think of that? They're going to find a YouTuber they don't bloody like that isn't part of a network. It was basically a bot attack, and AdSense and YouTube numbers got messed up. It was an automatic attack. Because it's attached to AdSense, they instantly think, well, hang on a minute. The views are being artificially inflated. The ads are being randomly botted. So the only person that benefits is you, the channel owner. So you must be the one behind it, because why would anyone else want to try and get you money?
Yeah.
My AdSense account got blacklisted, closed, and although I still had my partnership, I couldn't really do anything with it. I ended up joining a network because we were worried that we were going to lose the channel. And now I've terminated my contract with the network. I'm kind of stuck having a lot of copyrighted content on my channel.
So why again did you terminate the contract with the network? What was the reason for that?
Because the network was bollocks.
Okay.
I signed the contract way back when based on two people that I got to know. One of the two people was the head of the network at the time. He left the network to start another company, and while I was stuck in a contract, I couldn't follow. I had no real kind of loyalty to the brand. I didn't care for it at all. I wanted out. Now I'm out, but now I'm kind of stuck and can't post much. Just randomly throwing that out there because for any YouTubers, YouTube is now tightening their restrictions, their policies on copyright contents, third-party content matches, copyright strikes, all that kind of jazz. If anyone's interested, we can get into that on another podcast, but yeah, just be careful if you upload content to YouTube now, which might be a bit sketchy for us. The reason I bring it up is because of the gameplay reviews. We could be uploading gameplay content and they might not like that.
Yeah.
Because we're not part of a network, we have no safety net.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Rant over?
Yes.
Right, so my favourite section.
Oh, here we go.
And it's been a good month.
Has it? How many have we got?
4.
That's not bad.
I try and keep about 4 because I think that's a good number to have.
How many of these are from the BBC, The Sun, or Nuts magazine?
They're all from reputable news source.
I don't believe that. If it's from the UK, yeah, okay.
US could be from American website. Right, so first one. A living Ohio man has been ruled legally dead.
Okay, I was going to say, wait, a living Ohio man has been ruled what? I was like, where could that possibly go? He's been ruled dead.
Yeah. Okay, a US man declared dead after he disappeared nearly 3 decades ago cannot now be declared officially alive, though he has returned home and is in good health.
What does that mean for him, out of question? Like
he can't get a driving licence.
He can't get a driving licence.
Dead.
He can't. What does that mean for his property and his rights?
They mentioned a driving licence when they sort of mentioned, but I'm guessing. Well, I don't know. Perhaps they can do an autopsy on him.
I mean, he can't be defended by traditional law because he's.
Yeah.
They consider him dead.
What happened was, that he disappeared in 1986 after he lost his job. He claimed he had like a mental breakdown and ran away, leaving his wife, two children behind.
Oh, bastard!
Yeah.
Okay.
94, he's declared dead. But then he re-emerged in 2005 when he attempted to apply for a driving license.
Right.
The trouble is, the judge has found that death rulings cannot be overturned after 3 years.
Yeah.
So if he had turned back up in 1997, he would have been okay. Because he turned up in 2005, he can't be overruled. The judge said the best quote, "I don't know how that leaves you, but you're still deceased as far as the law is concerned."
Does that mean he doesn't have to pay tax and everything?
Presumably not.
Wow.
I mean, what I want to know is this: America is the only country I can think of where you can be ruled. Obviously, you are dead. There must be some. I'm
pretty sure that everywhere else in the world they'll say, "Yeah, you're dead," so everything's kind of void. But then if you turn back up again, well,
when that guy who disappeared in that canoe 3 years ago, remember him? He come back. And they both got done for fraud because they declared dead, and his wife collected the insurance policy, and went aboard to Spain where he was. They bought a house together. He then came back to the UK and was living under the stairs.
Okay, I don't remember that, but
that was a few years ago. But yeah, they didn't have any of this trouble with him being declared dead. There was no trouble. They just said, "Oh, well, you're alive now. Well, there you go."
There you go.
So
that's reversed, but America.
No, America, you're dead. No, sorry, you're dead. Sorry, you can't do anything.
If you're dead, that's it.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
that sucks, really, to be honest.
I am really curious how that affects him legally.
Well,
because,
if he can't get a driving license because he's dead, presumably he can't get any sort of insurance.
Yeah, no job, really, because he's dead.
Well, because he can't prove he's alive. Because if he can't supply a birth certificate, he can't supply a death certificate to your job.
That would be kind of funny. Could you imagine that? Turn up to a job interview with a death certificate?
Yeah,
birth certificate?
that'd be good.
I mean, the law's not going to cover him. I mean, could you imagine someone, right, ready again, sarcastic air quotes, someone murders the guy.
I can't be done for his murder, he was already dead.
Exactly, he's already legally...
No, that's alright, they then charge him for desecrating a corpse.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Go on, America, get on it.
Yeah. Somebody murdered... No, I'm not an advocate murder on the podcast.
No, I just want to know. Someone look it up. Has this ever happened before? Someone look it up, seriously, I'm now curious. It's like...
Mention it.
How would that work?
Well, I wonder if it's in one of those all hard... America's basically supposedly one nation, but every state has its own laws. I wonder if it's on a higher thing.
Someone look it up. Seriously, look it up. Some law student somewhere.
He's got more time than us.
And knowledge of the actual law.
Yeah. That helps.
When we understand in England that that's just dumb.
Yeah.
So...
Well, I think they understand in America, but they just don't seem to be able to do anything about it. So, right, next. Firefighters in the UK, are hoping to eliminate an SA 999 cause, and that is 999, not 911, have released some of their most trivial requests, okay? They receive, on average, 100 non-emergency calls a week in the past year. Some of the non-emergency calls are a spider crawling on a pillow.
Okay.
I'm not sure how this happened. A squirrel wedged behind a wardrobe. Wedged behind the wall. Not stuck behind it, but wedged. So all I can think is there's some squirrel cruelty going on there. Someone tried to sort of push it behind and wedged it in there.
Bad Pokemon training, that is.
It is. This one I loved. A woman called 999 when she feared a fox in her garden might bite her because it had an odd look on its face.
You called the fire brigade for that?
Well, yeah.
Woman's got a frying pan.
Yeah.
It'd be really funny if she was in a high-rise block of flats.
Yeah. Another one rang to ask about a bat in the kitchen. And what to do. An elderly woman dialed 999 after throwing a glass of water containing her false teeth and 2 fighting dogs. I'm not sure we should concern about the fighting dogs or the false teeth. Or both.
Okay. Any other random ones?
Yes, someone asked firefighters to help him find his mobile phone after he'd fallen down the toilet.
Wrong people to call, mate.
Plumbers. And, well, possibly...
Even then, they're just fucking
Do you
laugh.
ring up and say, 999, what emergency service do you need? A plumber, please.
Well, see, look, I know exactly how a plumber would go there, because I've been trained as a plumber.
So do your quote first.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one.
And the other one is another asks Farfars to help retrieve a shoe stuck on a roof.
Get a ladder. Get your own ladder.
I sell ladders.
Nick sells ladders.
Buy that.
Stupid. That's the thing, though. I actually knew that a lot of that kind of stuff happened because I used to have a friend that worked on the switchboard on the radios for the police in the Midlands.
Yeah.
He basically said how they used to have kind of like granny calls where people would just literally phone and talk
Yeah.
to the operator for no real reason other than to just do it, just to talk.
Because all not say, is this an emergency? Well, I probably say, no, is this an emergency?
But then
Well,
if you hang up on them, they file a complaint. It's weird, but they're more worried about people filing complaints for stupid things.
I'd rather, if I was in charge of the place, I'd say, ultimately, I'd rather have complaints filed, but proper emergency numbers get through, than have some random old person just talking to a member of staff.
Yep, but, well, that's the world we live in now.
I think I think there should be a rule that if you ring up 999, you just give a long rambling conversation. They can blacklist your phone number. Next time you ring it up, it says, fortunately, you have violated the terms of your service. You may not have 999 calls.
That would be pretty harsh.
You're
Man. If
gonna
someone's
burn-
house is burning, you're
Yeah.
going to burn.
Perhaps your house burned down will teach you now not to call 999.
Stop crying wolf.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is, like, you say like how I should blacklist people's phone numbers. I mean, they're on systems where they know where you're calling from, or at least the kind of area anyway.
Send the police round though.
Why not just issue a massive fine?
Yeah.
Stop wasting
Just
their
phone,
bloody
yeah.
time.
Yeah. Or if you're in America, send police round and get them to shoot them.
Gold.
Good.
Mind blown, kind of.
Good.
I already expected it, to be honest, but
Oh, fair enough. We've sort of two more to go as well.
go on then.
Okay, I'm going to do a scenario for you. You're a notorious pirate. You've captured ships, ransomed them off, done all sorts of nasty things. You receive a request to be a expert advisor on a film based on your life, and are asked to go to Belgium to begin filming. Do you go?
No.
Well, you're smarter than a Somali pilot who was arrested in Belgium and lured on the promise of filming a documentary about his life.
Oh my god.
He was arrested because in 2009 he captured a Belgian ship, seized and held the pirates for Somalia for 70 days until a ransom was paid. This is obviously click.
Yeah, I was going to say, how... What?
So yeah, he captured the ship, 2009. He holds it, sees it, gets a ransom for it, and then a few years later he gets asked to go. Knows he's got an arrest warrant out for him in Belgium because he's captured a ship.
What a complete burk.
Yeah, I mean, I thought pirates were quite clever.
Apparently not that bloody one.
Yeah. The thing is, he apparently he retired from pirating recently.
What, did he honestly think that was going to kind of, wipe the slate clean?
Yeah.
I'm not a pirate anymore, guys.
Yeah, he left. He announced in Mogadishu last year in January he was leaving piracy after a highly profitable 8-year career.
Yeah, that doesn't help, saying that it was a highly profitable career. Like,
No, it
hey, look, I made loads of money, I don't have to do it anymore,
Well,
So, I'm a bank robber.
his name is Mahadam Abi Hassan, also known as Al Faray or Big Mouth. I don't know if that's
No brain is a good name
I don't know
for
if
it.
that's his friends who call him Big Mouth or his enemies, but obviously what Belgium should have learnt, as this is a little bit of a tie into this, I saw it actually only today. Belgium should have learnt that what you need to do if you get a tap of pirates is play Britney Spears at them.
That's horrible.
Well, what they've been doing is apparently, according to one spokesman, Somali pirates can't stand Western music, so instead of shooting guns at them, they now just play Britney Spears at them. This is from a chap who runs oil tankers.
Didn't they say they used to do that to captured prisoners of
That was
war?
Barney the dinosaur. They used to play to the captured prisoners of war.
I just think children love that.
Yeah, but children are stupid.
Hey.
Well, ones who watch Barney the dinosaur, aren't they? I mean, this big purple dinosaur. What do you expect?
Hey. That's harsh, man.
Well, they are. All children. I mean, when I was a child, I was stupid. And then I grew up and I wasn't stupid. That's how it
Well,
worked.
we're still stupid because we're talking into a microphone for the internet.
Yeah.
Men don't get smarter. We don't, we just grow taller.
We've
That's
got to
it.
get smart at some point.
We don't mature. We don't get, nothing clicks. We just kind of get bigger.
Yeah.
We're just bigger children.
We talk about importing things to countries, and we mentioned how it's a pain to import something to like Britain, and you end up paying lots of money for it. We'll have feelings for people in China who tried to import 1,200 racing pigeons for them to get held into custody over a tax dispute.
Why?
Basically, they were importing pigeons and they're declaring them to have a value of €99. This is from Belgium. One of them was a pigeon named Bolt. Do you know what he sold to a Chinese businessman for?
No.
€310,000.
We're in the wrong business, mate.
That's £250,000.
Lifestyle's full of pigeons.
Yeah, and he then declared it at €99. So, yeah, I can see why. China really should have had £62,000 import duty on him, and he only got €99 worth. This was quite funny. Last Thursday, or obviously it's not last Thursday now because this is about 3 weeks ago when I copied this into the documentation, and obviously by the time you hear this edited, it's going to be about 2 months ago. Some point in the past, 400 were released after a symbolic sum was paid. Others are still in custody. And apparently, pigeon racing is a very popular sport in China. The breeding of top racing pigeons is also a lucrative business. This is the best bit about the whole thing. It is said the Belgian embassy has stepped in to help resolve the dispute. What a call that embassy ambassador must have got that morning. Usually they get rung up, they say, oh, we need to sort out like a trade negotiation with like a big oil company, or some other people have been kidnapped, you need to speak to the minister or something. Would you mind just sort of asking about if they would very kindly release some pigeons, please?
First off, kidnapped, that's awfully dark.
That's what we are.
That's what we're dealing with.
We've talked about murder already on this podcast, so that's all about darkness.
Murder, piracy, hating everyone, zombies, hating America.
Children.
Yeah, stupid children. I'm allowed to say I'm a father. I love them. But my kids are smart.
Oh, kids are smart.
Yeah, my kids are smart. The parents, well, at least the father is dumb. Stupid father. Just saying, he's a right idiot, the bearded bug.
He is.
Why did they offer to help? Why are they helping?
They were asked to involve, presumably because it was Belgium was where the pigeons were coming from.
Okay, I've been I'm holding back saying something nasty there because
No, don't hold back. We've insulted everybody else in the world. We might as well insult the Belgians as well.
Oh, it's not the Belgians. Actually, the main villain from Saints Row 3 is Belgian.
Is it?
Yeah, what prick.
Anyway, not actually to be offensive to Belgium right now, but they're not. I can't imagine a Belgian person being a villain. It just seems a bit too. They just seem a bit too boring to do.
Let's just say I murdered him pretty quickly. It was good though. No, it was more about the Chinese. They being imported. I just imagine people trying to pick them out of the sky to eat them.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Oh, poor Bolt. Bolt wasn't poor, but due to a miscarriage, he ended up on like a local menu.
Poor pigeon.
Pigeon's nice, actually. I've had that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, seriously, go down to the train station. There's billions of little bastards. We can make a.
Do you know I can convince one as like another one named Bolt and just see if I can convince them to buy it?
Yeah, I mean they're a little kind of dopey in this town, but like most of the people in the town.
No, Chinese. To buy them.
No, but I mean the birds. Like, the birds are a bit dopey, just like the people in the town.
Sorry.
But
I've just started the Chinese now.
See, you're worse than me. Bloody worse than me.
Another one's out of the list.
See, he's got the reputation, and I'm the one that gets given shit.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I remember reading a few years ago, there was a case of Chinese people being based. There was a fashion in China for poodles, poodles, but not many of them. Not many of them quite knew what they looked like. So what someone did was someone started buying lambs, shaving the wool off into a push and selling them to Chinese people. One of them was she complained that her dog didn't bark because it was a lamb, and one person took the dog to the beauty parlour to have its claws clipped, only to be told it had hooves. So there were some problems there.
Just minor.
Yeah. That might be a show note link. Picture of that. Because it's quite funny how they done it.
Sounds a bit... I'm sorry, but even if I drank 2,000... Look, give me a couple of bottles of scotch and I'm
Do you
still...
know what a poodle looked like? Do you know what a lamb looked like?
Give me a couple of bottles of scotch and we'll see.
Well,
I don't
right.
drink, so...
Yeah.
But...
Well, you just give them to you and just sort of look at them and go, yeah. What we do, just sort of hold up to the light, look at the lamb through the bottle of scotch and see what happens.
Well, that's normally how it works, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know?
Fair enough.
That's how it works.
Beer goggles.
Beer
goggles.
That's that. Like both of those, or all of that so far, is really. What? It's not that the news stories themselves are stupid. I just think that a lot of people in the stories are a bit thick.
Well, isn't the best kind when you get stupid people in stories? It's the best kind.
It makes me feel a little bit better about myself. I don't feel quite as stupid by the end of the podcast. Are there any more?
No, that is it. That's our. Did that blow the mind?
It gave me a bit of a headache, if I had to be honest.
I failed.
You've actually started to give me a tumour with these stories. If I do actually drop dead from some kind of, I don't know, brain bastard cancer, we know it's these bloody stories. Or the stress of editing this podcast.
One of the two.
One of the two.
A combination of both.
Bloody Americans being declared dead. Fucking dumbass pirates.
Yeah.
Always said that pirates are a bit kind of...
Do you reckon the American guy can now go and be a pirate because he couldn't be arrested because he's already dead?
Yeah. Do it.
Fear me, I am dead.
He's an undead pirate.
It's an undead. He would be an undead pirate.
He's technically the first American zombie.
Yeah.
Well, other than them bath salt zombies, but that's all bollocks.
Yeah, he is Taylor, but you're absolutely right. He's an American. He's a zombie.
What is the definition? Is he a zombie by definition now, or
I don't know. I don't. What's the definition of a zombie?
So is even. We'll look it up. He's now the Walking Dead.
Yeah, he is.
That was brilliant. Yeah, there you go. Pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Yes, champion.
Link.
He'll be in the next. He'll be in the next game season.
He will do. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Right. Well then, I think it's time for us just to let you know how you can find us.
Cool.
You can find our website at www.randnerds.com. Email us at randnerd without an s at gmail.com.
Stupid bloody Gmail.
Yeah, go to it. I still can't get the name right, so it still won't let me have it. You can also see us on YouTube at youtube.com/user/randnerds.
You don't have to put in users.
Do you not?
No, but it just forwards.
Oh, well, I don't understand.
Depending
YouTube.
on how you type in the URL, it can actually forward you to another channel, so.
That's useful. Fair enough.
Random.
But yeah, if you want to be in contact, email us, give us any news stories you think we should look at, perhaps sort of, tell us we suck. Usual stuff, really.
Tell us to stop offending your country.
Yes.
Give us another country that we can try to offend.
Yeah.
Seriously, I have a funny feeling that we're going to lose our jobs over this at some point.
What jobs? We don't get employed by anybody.
Yeah, fair point. I'm self-employed, so I can't exactly sack myself, can I?
You could do, but you'll just keep turning to work anyway.
Yeah.
We have to call the police on yourself because you won't leave.
That sucks to be me. It sucks to be self-employed sometimes. Oh my god. He won't piss off.
No. So go to the website, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Google Plus,
Google
Twitter,
Plus,
all the various places. But
Twitch TV, even though we
be in
haven't live
touch.
streamed yet.
Yeah, no, we don't have to, but yeah, get in touch. If there's anyone out there, please.
If you're a member of Ouya staff, sod off. If you're a member of GameStick staff, congratulations. If you have any games you want us to try, just tell us that they exist and we might have a look.
Give them to us free.
Yeah,
Then we can
no
try
one-
it properly.
Considering how we talk, no one's ever going to do that.
Yeah.
They're savages.
We can be bribed.
We can be bribed. A bacon sandwich would be a good start.
Yeah, we can get a sandwich.
But if I think your game sucks, it's going to suck. And if I think you're a stupid foreign pirate, or an American zombie, then yeah.
Well, I think we should wrap up there, should we?
That'll do. Good one.
Alright, thank you for listening. I've been Nicholas Jackson.
See you next year, because I'm Luke Roberts and I can't be fucked doing it this podcast.
Next month, Christmas special.
You mean I've got a deadline now? No!
Yeah.
Well, it's now the 3rd, so we're burnt a day.
Good.
Great show.
I better get home because I need to get up for work in about 5 hours' time.
Brilliant. Good luck with that.
Yeah, we'll do.